Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. Hold on. All right. How y'all doing? Had a little bit of technical difficulties there for a second. Another episode of Lost in the Script TV like that. Diddy acquitted of RICO and more FBA on the immigration. How y'all doing? Episode 200. Hopefully y'all had a stress-free week as possible as always. We got a lot to get to this week. Man, oh man, things come full circle, don't they? Besides the obvious stories, we're gonna get to some other things with the chat, the level of foresight that whether you believe in the Most High or the universe and how things come along and just fall into place so perfectly. We're gonna get to all that. Anyway, hold on. All right, we'll get right into these stories. We're gonna start with the obvious story of the year so far, and that is Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but convicted of lesser charges. I'm sure y'all have seen everybody talk about this. This is the end to this storyline now, at least. We have now the sentencing to come along, and just like before all this, he tried to get bail. They denied him, and now he's trying to get out. He's still trying to get out, and they're still not letting him out. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. But I'm not surprised by this, as I know a lot of people aren't. During this whole trial, I kept saying I just didn't see the trafficking, the sex trafficking. I didn't see the RICO, the racketeering. I just didn't see this situation. Obviously, the prostitution charges he was found guilty of. In particular, you have the racketeering conspiracy, which had a max sentence of life in prison. He found not guilty. The sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion was another max sentence is life in prison, not guilty. The transportation for purposes of prostitution, max sentence is 10 years. He was found guilty of that. The sex trafficking by force, but that's a second sex trafficking charge. He's found not guilty of that as well. And the transportation for purpose of prostitution, the second case for that, he was found guilty. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the main reason why the jury found him not guilty of the charges, outside of whether you believe the evidence showed that or not, it's because of the fact that it carried a possible life sentence. And it's like, well, in this case here, can we prove without a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, that this is what it was, that he was trafficking these people, even though I feel like the prosecution muddied the waters themselves without the defense, with the people they brought up to be witnesses. The fact that they kept focusing on his sexual depravity and just kept focusing on that stuff kind of made it seem like they wasn't taking this case too seriously. Obviously, they was able to prove a certain level of violence that he carried and the threats and the alleged violence that he had towards other people outside of Cassie. But I feel like they focused so much on the sexual stuff that it kind of weakened the point about it being trafficking, because they brought people in who admitted that they willingly did it. Now, the coercion part and the force, trying to say that he used the money and access to a certain lifestyle or whatever in order to force them to do certain things, I just didn't think that landed with most people. And the second I heard second it became public that they found him not guilty of these charges, the racketeering and the sex trafficking, I immediately thought to myself, I think he's probably going to be, as far as Diddy's public image has always not been that good. Like I said, that I see a lot of people saying that this entire case was used to simply run Diddy's image down to the ground more because of the whole, the liquor company. But I think Diddy's image was never good. I believe that the theory that a lot of people are bringing forward, which is they believe that he did have some tapes with some names, with some big names in them, and they simply wanted to confiscate the evidence and, do this this pony show here to the public to make it seem like they were actually going to, pin him some real stuff on him. Because remember, when this case was first introduced to the public, we thought we was going to get fireworks. We thought we was going to get all type of names, Will Smith, Jay-Z, Suge Knight was going to be involved, the death of Tupac and Biggie. We thought it was going to be the biggest case in hip-hop history. We thought everything we ever thought about Diddy was going to be proven correct. We thought all the dangerous stuff that we heard behind the scenes, holding people upside down. Cuddy said his car was blown up, even though now they're saying it was a Molotov. It's still, I get it, it's still somewhat of an explosive situation, but we thought it was going to be way more to this case, and all they kept focusing on was he's a freaky dude. Like, that's kind of was the center of the case for them. And I just thought this was just to get the evidence that they really wanted, which is the tapes that did have those people on. And maybe they didn't really go after Diddy and put the stuff they could have put on him because he didn't snitch. He didn't bring nobody's name up. His lawyers didn't bring no one else up in this entire case. They didn't bring nobody. So maybe that's why they allowed him to just kind of get this little, I'm not going to say slap on the wrist, but the fact that he was facing life, I think even the max sentence of 10 years each, which would be 20 years, I don't know if they would do that concurrently or whatever, but even the max sentence of 10 years is a slap on the wrist for what he could have gotten. Like, I don't think he was very happy. They say he got on the floor, he got on his knees and prayed before and after the verdict. So he's clearly very happy with what happened. I would too, because they could have sent him up the creek. What up, Regina? What up? She said, I wonder what was this distraction really about, since it's basically a black version of Epstein. All evidence was removed during the raid, and the rest was, that's all folks' history. Exactly. I think the same thing with Epstein. The whole purpose of that was to get the evidence that he had on these other people that he probably was doing a honeypot. Get the evidence so that we can give it back to let's be honest. The evidence they confiscated from Epstein, the black book and all that stuff, it didn't go back to the people. They didn't destroy it. They didn't destroy it. Someone somewhere or some alphabet agency has access to this information, and now they're using it to get what they want. It's not the situation where, one of these celebrities or politicians or international people is on film doing something, and when the raid happened, they got this evidence and they returned it back to all the people, or they destroyed it and alerted them that they were on tape. No, they kept it. Somebody else got that power now that they think Diddy had. She also said, this is some interesting world trickery spells. How does transportation of prostitution not fall under sex trafficking? Reminds me of Bill Clinton. Great point. But I guess you could say the difference is sex trafficking is, as you said, right, as it says right here, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion versus transportation for the purpose of prostitution. The transportation for the purpose of prostitution is just, I simply hired someone with the intent to have sex for money. Sex trafficking is, I forced them, I coerced them, or I frauded them. As they were trying to pin that on him because they were saying that he would invite these prostitutes, most of them male, but these prostitutes to these sex parties, these freak-offs, as he called them, these king, what do you call, night king night, whatever it's called. And he would tell them one thing, but they would show up and it would be this group of people, and he frauded them by telling them it was going to be him and maybe his girl, and it turned into this orgy type thing. So they were trying to say that was fraud. That was somewhat of tricking people into getting into this. Craig said, the welcome home freak off about to go crazy. Hey, it's going to be the most secret, huge party you ever heard in your life. He definitely not going to do it in America either. He's going to be on some island with a couple hundred Negroes, all the Negroes who didn't come out public, not just Negroes, all the people, celebrities, athletes, entertainers that didn't say anything publicly negative about him will be at those parties. They'll be rubbing shoulders with him within 2 years. But even if he's in prison, you're going to start seeing them say positive things about him in the press, how he's doing the work to change himself. He was already doing the work before this case came down, and now this has made him really commit to changing his life and being a better person for the people. And we know that'll be some BS, but that's what they're about to push now. Yeah, but judge denied bail for Bad Boy Record founder, saying it will be impossible for Combs to prove he does not pose a danger sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd. And I saw also that Cassie sent a letter to the court basically saying don't give him bail. Because she thought she would be in danger if he's released. Even though, like, if he get released in 3 years, wouldn't it be the same level of danger? I don't understand. What's the difference? Sean Diddy Combs, the one-time global hip-hop titan, whose federal trial unveiled horrifying testimony accusing him of sexual abuse against women and forced drug-dazed freak-offs, was acquitted Wednesday of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, but found guilty of lesser charges. The jury verdict, delivered the third day of deliberation, declared Combs, 55, not guilty of 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, but guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Then it says, I watched a podcast called Hearing Crystal Clear, and he called an alleged copy, and she had an alleged copy of the Epstein list, for which our current press was listed with some damning details if true. Well, remember Elon Musk, when he had his fallout with Trump, the biggest thing he said in his Twitter rant was that Trump ain't released the files of Epstein because he's in there. So then he came back and kind of said he said some things he regret and stuff, but Trump's still standing on 10 on him. Trump still ain't fucking with him. Trump said he could take his ass back to South Africa. But yeah, I just think this is the same thing with Epstein. And it's unfortunate because in America, we're so used to sensationalizing everything, even in our movies, entertainment, so it leaks into our news. So with the Epstein thing, it was the biggest conspiracy ever. He has tapes of presidents and world leaders around the world doing stuff with children, and there's proof in these tapes. He has thousands of tapes. Oh man, it's gonna come out soon. Just wait, it's gonna come, and we never get it. And it just go quiet. And you have a few people in media, what they call legacy or mainstream media, that'll still bring it up every now and again as a talking point against certain politicians, but they never really stand strong on it. Like we still ain't got the John F. Kennedy files, all of them, not the ones we already, the stuff we already knew. And I think at some point they were supposed to release the MLK files, and we haven't got that either. Virginia says, Trump said, watch it, sucker, before I deport your ass back to South Africa. Hey, Trump ain't playing with him. And then you see Elon Musk, he's starting his own party, America Party. Keep in mind, a South African and an Indian are starting an independent party for the American Party in America when they're both immigrants. It just don't make sense. This whole world is upside down at this point. And I said this a few years ago, it seemed like every demographic in the world, every culture, ethnicity that's in America, all the different ones, are fighting for a piece of the American pie, to own something. You got Asians saying that they've been here for hundreds of years and they have blood on this soil and stuff. Everybody's trying to stick a claim to America, and it's like it's a dying empire. Why would you want a piece of it? It's one thing to say you're owed something versus trying to claim something now. It's like, look, it's already over at this point. We're just watching the decay at this point. Obviously, I already said that Diddy, he will remain in custody while he waits for sentencing after being denied bond. I did see Judge Mathis, before the verdict came down, he even said that he think he'll be found not guilty. Judge Mathis, Judge Joe Brown as well, but Judge Mathis said, I was kind of surprised Judge Mathis shared that opinion. And then he said that it is unfair for the judge to not take $1 million for bond for Diddy. That is unfair, that he's been proven to not be a trafficker or the RICO, so you should let him out. But, we'll see what the judge does. Let me show this though. This is funny. Outside of the court, when the verdict was read, the Diddy supporters decided to do a baby oil contest. So they're outside the court pouring baby oil on each other. And this kind of just shows the state we're in the world today, where nothing is really taken serious. And also, if I really want to go real deep on it, this kind of shows the depravity that we're in America, where a man can be accused of sexual assault, you can think of sexual depravity in the bedroom, and the public just kind of, do the shoulder shrug, like, okay, who cares what he's into? Accused of wanting other men's semen on his nipples. I'm sorry, I just got to point that out. In the courtroom, you have people that's just like shoulder cares. That's how far it is in America. This is why the East, particularly rough America, so wicked. It's crazy. It's just such thing as morality. It's all gone. Everybody got escorts. It's scorched. Everybody just do this. And it is upside down, inverted, backwards, opposite of what we assume. What up, William? He said Judge Mathis is probably on some of them. A couple of years ago, I was watching somebody show. Said some things in some of those episodes where somebody was like, Judge Mathis is a freak. That allegedly around Detroit area, he's known for being a little, he's known for getting down certain ways. That's why when the news came out that him and his wife had filed for divorce or something like that, I was like, trouble, because they into some things. So he had to get her back. You can't let those type of secrets go out into the world because books get written, and we can't have a Diddy situation with me. So Judge said I had to get her back. I give you everything you want. You say even that, what the hell, crazy. What, Craig? But yeah, let me just play a little more of this. Yeah, this is how far it went. So these are all the freaky people defending the freak offs. This depraved people, man. It is what it is. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there's another angle. Let me show this one too. Might as well. Look at this. Oh Lord. And I saw Negroes getting online say, we know there ain't no black Americans. It's like, all right. Ain't no black Americans out there. And we pray. But even a more update to that story outside of Diddy's what he was and wasn't found. It immediately came out of that. It's not all over, obviously, because people still trying to get their money. Diddy got a couple dozen lawsuits still against him from former employees and such, suing him civilly for money. And there's another one that just popped up. Virginia said these folks have to be paid because ain't no way. Unbelievable. Yeah, I remember when, what was it? 50 Cent said that people were being paid money to stand outside and hold the free Diddy signs. I think he just started that rumor. I don't know how many people was actually getting paid, but maybe it was. But is it really worth it? A couple $100? Like, I don't know. I want to show this. So now we can get to the real stuff. Diddy and Cassie sued by male escort who claims he contracted STD after having sex with singer. Clayton Howard's lawsuit also claimed he impregnated Cassie, but she had an abortion without his knowledge. So that's supposed to be the emotional distress? Is that what they're supposed to he's suing for with that? Diddy's legal issues seem to be far from over, with a new lawsuit being filed against the disgraced mogul and his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. After the Bad Boy founder was acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering, it was confirmed he was being sued by a male escort he allegedly hired in 2009. The plaintiff, Clayton Howard, filed a lawsuit against Diddy and Cassie, claiming that the couple drugged, manipulated, and traumatized him when he began participating in Diddy's so-called freak-offs. Howard has claimed Diddy enlisted him for the alleged drug-fueled sex parties, which Cassie previously described as disgusting and humiliating. According to TMZ, Howard claimed he contracted an STD after reluctantly having unprotected sex with Cassie on multiple occasions. He also claims he impregnated the singer, but she had an abortion without his knowledge. Now, how the hell are you forced to have unprotected sex with someone when you are considered a male escort? You can say no. I don't understand. Howard made similar claims in a recent interview with Radar Online, saying he thought it was strange that Cassie wanted to have unprotected sex even after the alleged pregnancy. She told me that she had been pregnant and that it was my child, he alleged. She started to cry and said she was sorry. She claimed that she hadn't wanted to do it. I had no choice but to forgive her. She still had unprotected sex with me, and that was the strange part for me. I didn't want to have unprotected sex with her. I wanted to put a condom on, but she insisted on it. She told me she was on birth control now, and we didn't have to worry about. Howard went by Dave when he was hired for Diddy's alleged sex parties. He said he worked for Diddy for about 5 years, being trafficked for commercial sex and satisfying a couple sexual fetishes and personal ambitions. Yada yada yada. He says Cassie forced him to take ecstasy and participate in hour-long masturbation sessions that would leave his penis scabbed and peeled. Oh man, that's nothing that came from this. They were saying how they had these freak-offs that lasted 2 days, and Cassie on the third day said she still was ready to go. It was like, God damn. But yeah, there's still more lawsuits coming. Still people trying to get a bag out of the situation. I do think because of these results, a lot of those cases will be, some will be settled, obviously. Some will be paid off, and some will be thrown out. More than likely, because now it's all out in the street. I'm not just going to just pay y'all off now because all my dirty laundry in the street now. So now y'all going to stay in court and fight it. If you want this $5 million, $2 million, $500,000, you got to fight for it now. I'm not just giving it off. Craig says, "Oh my." Yeah, there was just some wild stuff, Craig. Another update to another lawsuit featuring the no longer friend but actually business associate Jay-Z. You know, he told the world that he's not Puff's friend. They were never friends, even though they looked pretty chummy all these years. Judge dismisses Jay-Z's defamation lawsuit against Houston attorney Tony Buzbee. Now, this shocked me. This one shocked me. This is this obviously is a big win for Tony Buzbee. I was kind of shocked by this. I thought there was no question that Jay-Z was going to be able to get something out of this, but the judge just dismissed it. Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, has filed an appeal to the California judge's ruling. Carter filed a lawsuit in November, just a few weeks before Buzbee filed a federal lawsuit in New York accusing Carter and Sean Diddy Combs of raping a 13-year-old in 2000. That case was dismissed in February after the alleged victim withdrew her lawsuit. A California judge has dismissed the extortion and defamation lawsuit filed by rapper Sean Jay-Z Carter against his Houston lawyer Tony Buzbee. The case was merciless, and as I predicted, it was thrown out. Buzbee said in a statement to Houston public media, "We intend to seek attorney fees." He gonna make Jay-Z pay his attorney fees now? Oh, you brave. In a ruling Monday, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Mark H. Epstein said he was conflicted about his decision to dismiss the case. On Tuesday, Carter's lawyer filed an appeal in the ruling. Carter's lawyer did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but told Rolling Stone they were disappointed by the ruling and believe it was a misapplication of the California's law. The court has tried to balance these competing values, although the court is not wholly satisfied that this is the outcome that best serves the legislative and constitutional doctrines. Epstein wrote on a 65-page ruling, "It will be for the Court of Appeal to determine whether the court got it right or wrong. Stay tuned." What y'all think? You think they're going to get overruled and they're going to bring it back in the court, or you think they're done, they're moving on? It's just one of those situations where Tony Buzbee has some connections and he scratched enough backs that they're just walking away and they say, hey, nobody lost in the situation. Publicly, Jay-Z actually gained some credibility because all the conspiracies around his name was getting stronger and stronger. And he was able to find a way to dispel some of those rumors and this being thrown out so easily. So maybe they feel like there's nobody lost in this situation. Let's just move on. I don't know. We'll see. I know Jay-Z has a lot of connections too. Craig says Epstein instant. Yeah, very. Very. Definitely surprised that this didn't go further so far. Like I said, it can always be brought back in, but yeah, Tony Buzbee's career was saved because this would have pretty much ended him. What we got? Oh, speaking of Jay-Z, one of the things that's been a critique of him out of the many, 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 many things people said about him is the Barclays Center when the Brooklyn Nets moved to, obviously, Brooklyn. New Jersey Nets, I remember this like it was yesterday. New Jersey Nets announced we're going to Brooklyn. And now the face of the franchise became Jay-Z. And they say he was a part owner. And then they said, oh, he owns like 0.5 or 1% of the Barclays Center of the building. Jay-Z said this is going to help Brooklyn. It's going to revolutionize the city, the area. It's going to bring so much money and yada, yada, yada. And then years later, a lot of the people that I saw getting on social media, the locals, I'm not from Brooklyn, obviously, they were saying how it sped up gentrification, how it led to the entire city being changed dramatically, how the local culture was pretty much removed. And now we're saying it with his used-to-be rival, Nas. Virginia says, Jay-Z, me, and Puff were never friends. Clive Davis, I never knew Puffy. These folks and the mind games they play in the public eats up. Exactly. Like, all right, man, I get it. Your lawyer said it. You didn't say it, and your lawyer said this. But come on, man. Trying to distance yourself in that moment make you look more guilty, honestly. But now, Jay-Z did that, which made some people angry. And now Nas is doing this. What up, Kiefer? Nas joins Resort World's $5 billion casino expansion in Queens. The version of the park has transformed the casino. It is a legendary rapper's hometown into a full-fledged establishment that mirrors the company's properties in Las Vegas. Let me show this here.
The future is not something you wait for. It's something you build. It lives in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the people who refuse to stand still. Resorts World is more than a casino. It's energy. It's opportunity. It's hope for the borough. A second chance for some, a first step for many. It's where community gathers. Not just to win, but to build a future once imagined. This isn't just business. This is legacy. And now it's time. Time to invest in us. Because the future doesn't ask for permission. It moves with purpose. From our chairman to our newest employee, we're committed to Queens. And in Queens, the future is now.
How are we feeling? Is this comparable to the Barclays Center? How are we feeling? Is this comparable to the Barclays Center being moved to Brooklyn? I will say it's kind of crazy to bring gambling and call it an opportunity. Like, there's not really many scenarios where the local population that they benefit from this. The people who live in Las Vegas, like live there, not people that visit, not tourists, don't live the best. Like, I don't know if I would be happy about putting this in my city. I don't know. Virginia says, oh, so this is why the rapper Jones is coming for Nas, another ritual while Nas climbs the ladder. Okay. Yeah, Nas has definitely done most of his business behind the scenes. He has a lot. His portfolio is definitely very respected. We'll say it like that. He's definitely climbed the ladder financially, especially in business, way faster in probably the last decade or so. But unlike Jay-Z, for instance, he does a lot more things behind the scenes. So he's not seen as cutthroat as Jay-Z. But people say he's about to build a smart city. Well, they're trying to do that to all the cities, especially the major cities. So yeah, they probably gonna go that route. It'll start with the casino, and then, hey, we need help with transportation, so we need easier ways to get around. So, AI vehicles, vehicles that's driven by AI or something, or we need 15-minute cities. You know what they call it? Everything within 15 minutes or something. Make that even quicker. So they're probably on their way to that too. And they'll tell the people that live there, particularly the black people, hey, this will improve your life. And then in 10 years, y'all won't live there. y'all will be somewhere else. William says, Nas sells liquor, Jordans, and gambling. Nasty word. And it's crazy because Nas is the one who was the conscious one. And I know we all have different sides of ourselves. I get it. We are multidimensional people. We're three-dimensional people. We have different views on certain things, and we just, we're walking contradictions, a lot of us. But it's kind of crazy for the dude to be the conscious dude to be the one selling you liquor and gambling. It's kind of crazy. But every rapper has a liquor brand at this point. They call it wine. That's what they call it. Well, I sell wine. All right, man. Press says, damn, I feel bad for the black people in Queens. We'll see. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it will benefit the local people. Like I said, I agree with you. That sentiment, I agree. I just think in a decade, it's going to be a big regret. I think it's going to lead to more crime. Because if you have a casino, you're going to have people that's considered to be high rollers going to the casino, which means you're going to add into the sex work going around the area, the drug dealing, the crime rate, the robbing. It's not going to help anything. Poor people are still going to be trying to get money. And people who are willing to go about it the criminal way are going to do it more. So they're going to really benefit the local people outside of going to work at the casino, and you're going to be making, minimum wage or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, time tells all. Another update on this quick story. Not going to stay on this for long. Regarding the so-called conscious snake oil in the spirits and the crystal and such. Yeah. Let me show this. Update on this. Karmelo Anthony indicted for murder and stabbing death of Austin man Metcalf at Frisco ISD's track meet. Now they're saying that the video has been seen by certain media members, but it will not be released publicly, and that it does not show an altercation between Karmelo and Austin Metcalf. So now they won't show it to the public, but they're telling us there was no altercation and that he just stabbed him. So we'll see how this goes in the court. Although I did see something, I didn't get all this information on it, but I saw that the family was asking for more money for the fees. And I said, now look, you was able to get the first batch of money. I'm not saying that black people don't donate to causes for black people. I'm not saying black people don't help. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I've never seen black people outraise white people on any platform like that. I've never seen it. I'm not saying it's impossible. So the fact that it did told me that somebody else, somebody was putting money in both pots. So now that you're coming back saying you need more money, I said this ain't gonna work out. It just doesn't work out like this. So we'll see where this goes. People said the family seemed like they were scamming. I don't want to call them scammers. I don't want to do that. So we did the same thing to those people out in Colorado. Travis used to call they were scamming, a scamming family. The family in Colorado, the farmer family, they had those accusations on them. I don't want to do that. So we'll see. Once again, we'll see where it goes. Virginia says, Judge Joe Brown said Karmelo Anthony should have just taken the ass beating like a man and learned from it. I disagree. If I could defend myself, I am. Using weapons, the knife. Now, keep in mind, this Austin Metcalf dude was an athlete. This was no little dudes. So this is not a situation where, he's bigger or as big as somebody else possibly, and it's just like, hey, mano y mano. Like, I'm not going to say I would have stabbed him, but I'm also not saying he should have sat there and tried to fight two people. So I don't know. Life might have been simpler if he would have just fought him, but I'm not going to say it would have been necessary. Who knows how far they go? We don't know how far they go if they start jumping on him. They kick him in the head, and now, okay, what happens if he fights them? They kick him in the head, put him in the hospital, put him in a coma, and now that's on the news. Black kid jumped by white kids, and it's like, it's the same thing, but in reverse. So, yeah. Kiva says, no money for the proper attorney. Hey, we're going to wait, Kiva. Let's just wait. I'm being a little bit, I'm just going to give him a little more grace. Virginia says, I disagree with the judge, too. Was surprised at his, can't see this word. Something in the way. Sorry, I can't see that. Oh, here you go. Statement. Yeah, I think judge is looking at it from the standpoint of now you're going to be in court for possible murder. The system may not be on your side. I get it, but like I said, it could have went way left for him if he would have just got jumped on too. So yeah. Anyway, let's move to another one. Another update story. People says used to watch the lead attorney's take on this is good. Yeah, is he? I haven't watched him in a while. Did he ever update on his diagnosis that happened? I didn't get all the details, but I did see the video of him saying that he had a diagnosis that was very serious. Is he healthy? This is an update to another story from last year. This will be quick. Parents of decapitated baby awarded $2.2 million against doctor after autopsy photos posted online. The parents of a baby who was decapitated during birth at a Georgia hospital was awarded over $2.2 million by a grand jury in a lawsuit against the doctor they hired for the autopsy after photos of it were posted online. The grand jury awarded Jessica Ross and Trayvon Taylor $2.2 in damages on Wednesday. In September 2023, the couple filed a lawsuit against Dr. Jackson Gates and Gates Rapid Diagnosis Laboratory of Atlanta. The lawsuit claimed Gates, who was hired by the couple to do a private autopsy on Trayvon Isaiah Taylor Jr. after he was decapitated during birth, uploaded a video of it to his public social media page without permission. The lawsuit claims they were an invasion of privacy and emotional distress and fraud were intentionally inflicted on the couple. He says, I think he did, but I missed it. Oh, okay. Virginia said $2 million seems low. Well, here's the thing. This is not the hospital or the doctor that actually did it. This is the person who did the autopsy for this happening. So this is not even the people who committed the actual act. This is the man who posted it on his page without getting permission. So that's even crazier. The lawsuit claims there was invasion of privacy. I said already. The child got decapitated. The young couple just suffered one of the worst losses any human being could ever suffer. The couple's attorney previously said when the lawsuit was filed that he did not identify the baby and only posted the image on the Instagram page for educational purposes. I understand the law not to divulge parents' private confidentiality, any information, including the deceased. So if you notice, I routinely post images to teach the public and inform the public of some of the this is going on in medicine. Yes, this barbarian is bad. In a statement after the verdict Wednesday, attorneys said they were pleased with the outcome. While we were pleased with the jury punished Dr. Jackson Gates for his reprehensible behavior, nothing can ease the pain that the parents, Jessica Ross and Trayvon Isaiah Taylor Sr., have experienced in losing their baby boy in such a horrific way, the couple's attorney said in the statement. Yeah, good for them, but it still seems low. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it? Just said, wait, what? Yeah, it wasn't the actual doctor that did it. It was the person who they did an autopsy who posted it on his page for, as he said, educational purposes without their permission, and they got $2.2 million for that. So I don't know. I can't remember. I know they sued the hospital and the doctor who did, or the hospital that did it. But I don't know if that was thrown out or what. But I don't know if they still in the lawsuit with them. The couple also filed a lawsuit against Southern Regional Medical Center, claiming doctors incorrectly delivered the baby, causing the decapitation on July. They ruled the baby's death a homicide. The hospital claimed the baby died in the utero. Couple's attorney said the case against the hospital is still pending. All right, so the case against the hospital is still pending. They haven't came to a conclusion with that one. So now the hospital is saying the baby was already deceased, so they didn't kill the baby. I don't know. We'll see how far they go to. Hopefully they get all they deserve. Crazy, horrific thing to have to go through. Prayers and blessings to them. This is just a crazy story. Not gonna stay on this one long either. Hold on. Consequences of laughing while black. Kansas City man hauled out of comedy show and arrested after entitled white woman complained that he was laughing too loud. Lawsuit says a black man arrested inside a comedy club for laughing while black has filed a lawsuit against the Missouri cops who arrested him and his girlfriend, accusing the cops of racial profiling. Steve Young, who was also a police accountability activist, was arrested along with the activist's girlfriend, Wilfred L. Jameson. Now, keep in mind, the black dude here and his girlfriend are both activists. So keep that in mind. They're activists. So I think this was some get back more than likely. The police accountability activist was arrested along with the activist's girlfriend, Wilfred L. Jameson, who was white and also listed as a plaintiff. Both are founders of the Kansas City Law Enforcement Accountability Project, who describes itself on its website as holding police accountable and advocating for victims of police violence since 2021. Keep it laughing. But it is Young's race that led to the arrest in the first place, according to the federal lawsuit filed in June 18th that accuses Kansas City police officer B. Duggery and J. Comfort of violating their constitutional rights. Hey, man, how you gonna get arrested for laughing too loud at a comedy show? How are you disturbing someone's peace in a place where you're supposed to be laughing? This country is insane. The incident took place March 22nd, 2022 at a Kansas City music hall during a set by stand-up comedian Hassan, I can't say that last name, Mahaji, an American of Indian descent who spent 4 years working as a correspondent for The Daily Show. Young and Jameson sat behind a white woman as soon they were laughing and clapping along with the rest of the audience. But the white woman sitting in front of them turned around and looked directly at Young, telling him to be quiet. Young ignored her demands and continued watching the show, laughing along with the rest of the audience. But the white woman became increasingly annoyed and even stood up at one point to face him, telling him to stop laughing, the couple alleges. Young responded by telling her to stop harassing him and other members of the audience who were getting annoyed by the woman, offered words of support to the couple and claim states. The white woman was then complaining to the security guards working that evening, who called Kansas City police. The officers showed up and began questioning the couple, disrupting the show to the point where he left the stage, informing the audience he would return once the situation was resolved. Without interviewing witnesses to gain a full perspective of the situation, the cop arrested the couple on a charge of disorderly conduct, which is often a contempt of cop charge used against citizens who annoy officers when they can't find an actual crime for the subjects have committed. If anybody should have been charged with disorderly conduct, it should have been the white woman complaining about the couple. The claim states under the subtle consequences of laughing while black, arrest, prosecution, damage. One thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life. This is crazy. American insanity of privileged mofos and cops who entertain the nonsense. Man, this is insane. It's clear, I think, more than likely, the woman in front of them probably was just being, maybe she didn't like their coupling. Maybe she just didn't like them. Maybe she's having a bad day, and maybe she just racist. I don't know. But she was being weird. But the cops coming there and actually arresting them it's just crazy. Although now that based off this article, they are activists, hold police accountable. So it makes sense. They probably know of them. They found a reason to arrest them, and he's trying to get his get back against them by putting that lawsuit on them. That's another thing. Why do these cops do stuff that they know can lead to a lawsuit, and now you got to take taxpayer money and pay these people? Why do y'all keep doing stuff that you can be sued for? It's just crazy. That anger management, man. They got to learn how to de-escalate situations better, but we've been saying that for years and ain't happening. All right, last small story, then we'll get to the next tab. Keeper said they should have arrested the lady who complained. I hope they got a lot of money. We'll see. This is a 2-year thing. They've been going at this for 2 years now with this lawsuit, I guess, or maybe he just filed a lawsuit now. He got me in jail for laughing. That's just the absurdity of it is crazy. 7 injured in Lake Lanier boat explosion, including 5-year-old, officials say. No need to read the article. As the amount of drownings and strange injuries and deaths that happen on this lake, and we know the history of this lake, obviously it's flooded, the Black Town was taken over, flooded it, whatever. You would think that someone would just say, hey, maybe we should stop. Maybe we should stop going to this lake with the amount of strange stuff that happens around it. I want to say, if y'all don't remember, y'all can remember, y'all remember. I want to say a few months ago, maybe I can't remember exactly. There was a case of somebody who I think was black being on this lake, and they didn't die, but they were injured. Can't remember what happened. Can't remember if they fell off of something and almost drowned, but lived or something like that. But y'all got to stay away from this lake, man. It's been doing damage for years, and they still didn't learn their lesson. Next topic. This one is taking over all political talk amongst the progressives, the left-leaning people, or the socialist. I don't call them social. I call them champagne socialists, because none of them are willing to give up something for everybody else. They really just talking online, and I voted for this, so I'm a good person. It's like, okay. Craig says Lake Lanier up 1,000 points. It's more than that. They ain't took an L ever. But yeah, let me get to this story. Zohran Mamdani, if I'm saying that wrong, let me know, wins NYC mayoral primary over Andrew Cuomo. Trump reacts. I was surprised that he beat Cuomo at first, but then it was like obvious. Cuomo allegedly, well, it shouldn't even be alleged at this point. During COVID, he was heralded as this person who was this great leader who was in front of the camera every week. He won was it an Emmy or something? He won some award for getting in front of the camera every day, trying to quote unquote calm the people down and inform them. And then it turned out he was taking older people and putting them in these homes with other sick older people, leading to possibly more deaths, stopping people from seeing their family members, whether it was grandparents or parents. And it was just chaos. And then he was accused of sexual harassment. I think a sexual assault as well. So it shouldn't be surprising that he lost. I think I was hoodwinked by how many videos I saw, or at least how much evidence I saw that he still had a complete chokehold of the black vote in New York. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But this guy won. He's a socialist. He said he doesn't like capitalism. Yada yada yada. Just the typical stuff you hear from these types. But I want to show this here, because just like Bernie Sanders, they ain't giving him no support, the Democratic Party. People said this guy is trust fund baby, just like most socialists. He is phony. I agree. And we're going to get to another phony later. These trust fund so-called socialists. We're going to get to another phony later when we get to the black people. Let me show this one.
Let's start with the big news, Leader Jeffries, out of your hometown. Mamdani won a big victory. Have you endorsed him yet?
I have not. We had a conversation on Wednesday morning where I congratulated him on the campaign that he ran, a campaign that clearly was relentlessly focused on the high cost of living in New York City and the economy. He outworked, he out-communicated, and he out-organized the opposition.
We're going to get to it, Kiefer. I see you. We're going to get to it.
Endorsing him right now.
Well, we don't really know each other well. Our districts don't overlap. I have never had a substantive conversation with him.
So basically, he didn't endorse him. As we know, the Democratic Party is never going to endorse him. He was, the typical socialist policies: rent, wages increase, more taxation of the wealthy, yada yada yada. Keep his head. Sorry, I'll shut up. We're gonna get to it. Then
support his candidacy, and will you back him?
The election just completed. I had a chance
this
to
is Hochul.
Congratulate him on the Tuesday's primary and look forward to having conversation. Obviously, there's areas of difference in our
She's gonna try to convert them as they did AOC and the rest of them.
positions, but I also think we need to have those conversations. But in the meantime, I truly am not focused on the politics. We're 6 months away from Inauguration Day, and that'll determine who I'm working with for the next 4 years.
So I want to show this right here. Cuomo will stay on the NY ballot after conceding Democratic primary to Mamdani, sources tell CNN. So he's doing the same thing that Eric Adams did. When Eric Adams knew he was going to lose to Cuomo, he went independent, trying to gather some of those right-winger votes that's in New York that is seemingly growing. and now Kumo is going for the same demographic. Though I don't get it. One of them will have to step down more than likely, but that's their problem. But let's get to this here. I want to show. Is this it?
State. This election of choice between those who believe in this city and those who don't. Let me tell you something. This is a city not of socialism. No. I've been to socialist countries. This is a city where you could come as a dishwasher and you can own a chain of restaurants. This is a city where you can be a cab driver and then become a doctor. This is a city where you could go from homelessness to building housing. This is a city where you could be a young person who's dyslexic, a young person who was rejected, and eventually to be elected to be the mayor of the city of New York. This is the type of city we're in. This is not a city where you use idealism to state you're giving everything to everyone for free. There's no dignity in someone giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up. We're going to lift up the city of New York.
It's hard to go along with that when you did it for the immigrants initially, and then you backtrack on that and decided to pivot another way. You did that already, though. But let's get to this part right here. Hold on, let me skip this. We don't need that either. Let's get to start with this. A few years ago, as many people have started saying, but I said that we're going to see a growing group of people that start calling people who are clearly not black politically. They're going to find a way to tell you that these people are black, even though if they're not. I said I found out years ago that in the UK, obviously Indians are Asian, but in the UK, some of them will identify as black. And then I seen this story here years ago of Mindy Kalins, that's the actor's brother. I faked being black to get into middle school. And he was successful. He successfully, an Indian man, put on an application that he is black and successfully got accepted. And that is exactly what Zohran also did. Asian and black, how Zohran described himself in Columbia application. Ask Mr. Mamdani, mayor of New York City, his background of the origin Democratic nominee of city listed his race as black or African American on his 2009 application to Columbia University in the New York reported. Now, New York Times was getting backlash from the so-called progressives saying that this was a hit piece. And I would say in the initial reaction, if y'all would have just shut up, if y'all would have just said, okay, that was stupid, why did he do that, and move on. Because his background is, he is Indian, his parents are Indian, he lived in South Africa, New York. So they're trying to say the reason why he put black or African American is because his family has been in Uganda, his Indian family has been in Uganda for 100 years. Now, the first thing I thought was, that's amazing. Because your family was able to be in Uganda for 100 years and you remain very much Indian. You don't look Ugandan at all. Somehow your family was in this country for 100 years and never mixed, which is cool, but that's just funny to me. But yeah, it says his campaigns for first Muslim Southeast America, and the application to Columbia University, he was 17 at the time, checked both boxes, identify himself as Asian and Black American. He also wrote in Ugandan in a free response section, he was not admitted to the institution. So instead of checking other and putting Ugandan, Asian, or Ugandan, Indian, whatever, he decided to check African American. Now his father apparently is a professor in Africana studies or something. And they refer to his father as African. His father's Indian, but they refer to him as, at least when they defend this, they refer to his father as African, but he's not. And this is where the ADOS, FBA, whatever, whichever one you connect to, I saw a lot of people saying, okay, this is a point for them. Because everything they've been saying for the past 8-9 years in this one moment showed why it's necessary to disaggregate and separate identities and ethnicities. Because in America, African American represents black people, and not even the people from the continent. They try to pull that scam to say, oh, well, a person from the continent of Africa who moves to American. No, that's not what that is. African American is an identifier for Negroes of America, colors of America. They used to use the term color. They use the term Negro. They use all these. It's Black American. You know this. But you have these so-called socialists who always have this problem. They have a problem with identity politics in general, which is why I always laugh, because the right wing, whether you want to call them fascists or whatever you want to call them, or you want to call them the far right wing, and the socialist far left wing typically agree when it comes to identity. They think all of it should be erased. None of it matters. We're all human. When I don't believe the right wing really believe that. They just say that, but they don't really believe it. The left wing believe that there should be no idea, there should be no care for racial identity, ethnic pride and identity. It shouldn't exist, which is crazy. Virginia said the immigrants are really turning that word black on his head, huh? Man, I told y'all. Travis said he already ready to give it up. Keeper says his mother is loaded. Father's professional too. Exactly. It's just like Kamala. It's exactly like Kamala Harris. And like I said, his supporters, because they're so digging their heels and defending him. Well, technically, he grew up in Africa. He's in America. He's African American. I don't see the big deal. It's like, look, y'all did the same thing with Bernie Sanders. When he took his ass to South Carolina, and he did not send anybody to work the streets. He didn't give the speech that he was given by a black woman because he didn't want to do the identity politics. He didn't have enough respect for him, but he got on that stage and made sure he told Hispanics and immigrants, y'all have what they call a black problem on that side. Which all these sides, I know all these sides have the same problems. Virginia says, I'm with Travis. I only identify for now as American, and I'm questioning that too at this point. Crazy time. She said, you should show the rap video. I didn't see a rap video. You better make me look it up too. I didn't see a rap video. But let me show this here. This is another example of them taking identity. On the left, a Pakistani son of a hedge fund manager who exploited black identity politics to get into Stanford, writing Black Lives Matter 100 times for his college essay. I'm going to look it up. Think about how crazy that is. So when you look at these statistics about DEI and affirmative action, I'm looking at these college campuses, especially these Ivy League college campuses. When they show these percentage of their school that's black, it'd be 2, 3, 4%. How many of those people are actually black? How many of the black student body of these college campuses are actually black, let alone black American? It's Indians, Pakistani, Southeast Asians all over the place running around these campuses calling themselves black. Remember that song, I'm a black nigga? One thing you gotta know, I'ma be a nigga for life. Indians applying to college as African American is more of a thing than I realized to include Kamala, as you pointed out. Let me look up this rap video for a second. Because now you got me interested. Is it his? Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. Lord, he had a music video.
I'm going to make you a countryside.
Fuck any of the nanny says they better than profane.
No, I don't think that's it. Hold on, I think I got it. Hold on, y'all. Wait, that was the song. Oh, I thought there's no way that's the song.
I'm going to make
Is this it? Y'all let me know if this is it.
curry. My name is Praveen. No. Hello, everyone. Pound and a half of chicken. Stir and fry it again.
Mom? You're living in our house now, Mom. We're not living in yours.
Is this it? Y'all let me know if this is it or not. I don't know.
Why do I have to keep telling you this? And then on Wednesday, you forget to pick up Nikhil from school. All of your meddling, these questions, and the TV serial cause you to lose sight of the fact that you are not a good nanny.
You're the best damn nanny that you ever done. Seen fuck
Oh,
top
my
five
God.
nannies and fuck top three.
He copied the Whisper song. Yang Yang Twin.
Yours. Why do I have to keep telling you this? And then on Wednesday, you forget to pick up Nikhil from school. All of your meddling, these questions, and the TV serial cause you to lose sight of the fact that you are not a good nanny.
You're the best damn nanny that you ever done. Seen fuck top five nannies and fuck top three. I'm the number one nanny. Don't fuck with me. Fuck any of the nannies since they better than Praveen. Cause I'm 85 years old, 85 years old, 85 years with my family on my back, so I'll outlast everybody on my fucking haters. Don't know me now, then you never know me later. Say, I be in an elevator to the top. Go and find your own way there.
Oh my God. All right, man.
Drinking a la water ball for me by my waiter. Not just anyone, but the hair fucking meter. At the top, where it is. Got a great grandkid, man, fucking ace. Wrapped in the shop.
Why does it remind me of that new song by what's his name? What's his snap? ASAP Rocky. Remember that video ASAP Rocky got that random stuff happened?
It's a cool breeze, but you never catch me. Better just catch Sace.
All right, man. We in a different world. We in a different time zone. What's going on with politicians have rap videos? Come on, man. Chris says, I thought everyone had black fatigue. What happened? Yeah, that was a big thing going on. He said, I'm going to send you one of his videos. Okay. What is going on? Oh, man. Also, I noticed, because it's funny enough, that video is about nanny or your granny. I seen a lot of black people, one, defending him, calling himself African American, which I don't know if I'm surprised by how far some of these black people will go, particularly the ones that are really engulfed in politics that doesn't include black people. The ones that, like I said, call themselves socialists. But now that demographic, that group of black people are angry and talking down on black older people. The older black people, they're saying that they're holding us back. And the stuff they're critiquing them for shouldn't really be that of a critique. So you're just mad they don't want to support somebody who they can see through. They see through the bull. I always, in my entire life, whenever somebody is significantly older than me, I'm gonna check it out, Kiefer. I'm gonna look for it now. I always tend to listen because even if I disagree, I have to understand that they have a lot more time and wisdom. So they might see something that I haven't seen before. I'm sure a lot of these older black people have seen all kind of people come through with this social ideology, this socialist ideology, how they promising free this and that. And they realized it wasn't real. It was never going to happen. And now they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're like, I know better. Listen to me. I know this is BS. What's her name? Nancy Pelosi was AOC before AOC. She was pushing that idealism and stuff when she first came in. And look what she turned into. The people in California voted for her, and look what it led to. Because I saw the video yesterday of a group of Asian women line dancing to I'm going to show that video. It's funny you talked about it. I'm going to show that. Sometime in the future, we're going to have the president who used to do OnlyFans. I wouldn't be surprised I mean, we got presidents that's already into all type of sexual stuff, so let me check this. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Oh God. You send me a video, Keeper. Is he wearing an apron with no shirt on? What's going on, man? Oh man. Oh God, hold on. I don't think I'm not even signing into this account. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. I gotta send it to myself now. Hold on. All right. All right. That's just one video. Hold on. Let me put it on the screen right quick. Hold on. What, did he get? Do all he do is make songs about his grandma? Now he doing a rendition of their A-Rap Money song. The energy of this just seems off too. It is. All right. This is going to be the mayor of New York. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna really let him win that though. We'll see. They already did this. The whole him calling himself a Black American or African American, which is gonna hurt him because his supporters don't want to admit he did something stupid. But you know, we'll see what they got for him next. Let me show this right here. Virginia brought this up. Let me play this. This is the what do they call it? Boots on the ground. The fan dance being done by a group of elderly Asian women. Oh look! You know what? Sometimes I realize everything like we always things are in stages. Keith says no. Everything really is in stages. So back in the day, the way Black American culture was exported was through the music, strictly. It was music. Then the internet came. And, you know, the things we say, the language we use, the way we talk, and, you know, what they call swagger, or the soul, the whatever you want to call it, that was exported a little bit more. The way we speak and stuff, everybody explaining what every slang mean, what everything mean, and no one talks like where they're from no more. Everybody using the same words. TikTok, I think, went even further because it started reaching an audience that normally didn't pay attention to the internet. Because the people who were around from when like Facebook first started, those people kind of jumped over Instagram and Twitter and all these Snapchat and all these others. They went to TikTok. And it's led to everything, every single thing being quote unquote shared across cultures. Like there's nothing now that's gatekept at all. Well, I think they did better than the than the white people. I think that showed that the white people. All right, man. These Asian grannies out here doing. All right, man. Line dancing. All right. And this is an example right here of what I was talking about, with these people in their defense of him referring to himself as African American. As you can see, are they that desperate? Mamdani identifies as Asian and African American on college application. Look what this dude said. This is one of his supporters. A third-generation African with a middle name Kwame, who grew up in Africa, was then now a citizen of Uganda, ticked a box on the application for the university he didn't get into, where his African father is a renowned professor, before majoring in African studies elsewhere. It's insane that we're now having to pretend that a child of a citizen and subject scholar is faking or playing up an interest in Africa as one of a kind election ploy, because the notorious far-right internet racist leaked cyber hack material to the New York Times. And instead of just saying he did something stupid, why did he do that? Let's move on. You're trying to dig your heels in and fight on this heel that he did nothing wrong. Like somebody said, his father is certainly not African. He most definitely is. And I've gone to talks he's given about post-colonial rule in Africa, his subject expertise. So if you can talk well about Africa and you go to college and you learn all the stuff that happened with colonialism and such, you are a fellow African now. You can change ethnicities and race based off of what you know about another culture. Instead of just saying he's wrong, you're just doing this silly stuff. Virginia, it's safe to say black fatigue is a psyop because, come on, man, Lil Boosie. Imitate the Negroes, more like it. And obviously, this is the actual thing that he did check. Ethnic group code B for black non-Hispanic. So, yeah. And somebody pointed this out. Left wing, there's clearly an African American because he was born in Africa. And then you got to accept Elon Musk then. What was that, a few years ago when Elon Musk, the right wing, was calling Elon Musk African American? And then they were trolling, calling him African American. And y'all was calling him all type of, this and that, and erasure of black identity and all this other stuff. And now that he did it, you're defending it. And it's both the same thing. Keep saying knew better. He was 17 years old. His father, he knew what he was doing. He was trying to get into the college. He thought during that time that any of the programs dedicated to helping black students get into the college, he thought he would be able to get in through that. And they called Elon that was yeah, that's what I'm saying. They never really thought he was African American. They were trolling the liberals by saying that. But now the liberals are not even the liberals. The progressive socialists are defending this person being called African American. Hypocrite. They don't stand on nothing. Whatever person they support do, they just get behind it. And that's why nothing moves. All right, let's see any more on this. And I want to show this right here to show proof. I've been saying this for 2 years, a lot. This person says all Africans are not black. Now, first I had to think, okay, so now my whole life I was told that North Africans and the Egyptians, the people that's in Egypt now, were not black. They were Arab, and they were not considered African. They were just Arabs. That's what they were considered. So now, in 2025, North Africans and East Africans, the Arab ones, are now considered African. The race is no longer African. The race is black now. So you can be a non-black African. my whole life has changed, I guess. Honorable, what up? How you doing? How you doing? I think I got one more. What up, Dre? And see, this person here said that he is Asian as an Indian, but he isn't black. And this person right here said, what percentage of a person's DNA determines whether the person is black, white, or brown? I'm not even going. This is crazy. People say Arabs will consider Caucasian too. Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they just got something done with the census where MENA, they would not be under the white category anymore through MENA on the census. So, according to some people in Africa, I'm not gonna say all, they fully consider Arabs in North Africa and East Africa to be African now. So, it is what it is. Let me skip that. This for a second. Comparing the Medicaid cuts and House and Big Beautiful Bill. So the Big Beautiful Bill, it's gonna get through. I see a lot of people talking about it from all levels. People who support it, don't support it, see it as something that will help business owners and create more jobs and possible build on some of the infrastructure in America. Others believe it's the largest transfer of wealth from the poor people to the richer, which is, they said the same thing about what happened during COVID. Republicans plan to slash Medicaid funding to help offset the tax cuts and new spending included in President Trump's massive domestic policy bill. So obviously, he put billions on the border to build facilities and such. He also increased kept the child tax credit. The Trump child, what they call it, the Trump Child Fund, where $1,000 be put into some type of fund for any baby born between 2020 something and 2028. I can't remember exactly. He put the stipulations on the safety net of SNAP or food stamps, where you have to have a certain amount of hours of work a month. Obviously, Medicaid, Medicare, he did a lot of cuts to that. So yeah, I mean, it's Trump. He said he was going to do this, and I've seen a lot of his supporters actually come out and say they regret voting for him because of this. So yeah, there is a difference between the approaches taken by Senate and House Republicans, making Medicare among the most divisive issues lawmakers have had to navigate in recent months. And let's be honest, this will affect Black people. There are many Black people on Medicaid, older Black people in Medicare. So this will be something that affects us. Starting down the self-imposed July 4th deadline to get the Big Beautiful Bill to Mr. Trump's desk, Republican lawmakers have yet to settle their differences, yada, yada, yada. About 71 million Americans are enrolled to Medicaid, according to the government's most recent data. According to the Congressional Budget Office report published late Saturday, the changes to Medicaid and Affordable Care Act in the Senate version will result in an increase of nearly 12 million more uninsured people by 2034. When does it start? Well, some of the things kick off what I saw later this year, as far as the what they call it, the eco-friendly stuff, the EV vehicles and all that stuff, the tax break people was getting for doing that. Apparently that happens later this year. But the House passed version, I don't think Trump has signed it quite yet. The House passed version will leave slightly fewer without health care, nearly 11 million by 2034. Mostly due to cuts to Medicaid and Affordable Care Act. The CBO estimated earlier in June. The Senate version make $930 billion in cuts over a decade to Medicaid, Medicare, and Affordable Care Act, according to the CBO. The House passed bill, including the $800 billion in cuts. Obviously, I talked about the work requirements between 1964, reporting requirements. Oh, this is the part where it says it's going to harm people because the paperwork. Stuff can get filed incorrectly. Deadlines can be forgotten, not told to people, and it can lead to people not being getting these benefits anymore just because of paperwork. And you have to now prove your eligibility twice instead of once a year. Yeah, they went through a lot of changes. I'm not gonna go deep into it. I'm just saying, I seen the people who were trying to make it seem like it was a nothing who is not going to really affect certain. It's going to affect everybody. It's 100. It's going to affect everybody. I would say, is Medicaid for elders or is it a Husky D? I don't know blacks on Husky D. I think Medicaid is for. If I can, let me make sure. Yeah, Medicaid is definitely for the older people, 65 and up. So, yeah, it's something else I saw. I remember years ago. Yvette brought it up again. She talked about how when she pointed out a story that I didn't know about, that if you were 65 on Medicaid and you own properties and something, if you pass away, they will take your assets to take some of that money back they gave you, or expenses. I didn't know that, but yeah. Then I got to play this right here. Let me play this right quick. This now Trump, the official White House account posted a video of Trump with Usher's Daddy's Home playing in the background. This nothing is serious anymore. It's just first it was 50 Cent's Mini Man. He didn't get to walk out today, I don't think. But people kept overlaying it over all his speeches after the shooting. Now it's Usher's Daddy's Home. Virginia says facts are going through that now with a relative who recently transitioned, and the government can rip you dollar for dollar any welfare they produce if you have assets. Exactly. So nothing is free, which is crazy because it leads you to that idea of you're not supposed to own anything. Nothing is free. So if you're a person who don't own any property or any assets, and you're getting government help, government assistance, when you pass, nothing is taken or given. It's just, it is what it is. But if you are somebody who owns something, they would then take that. So it's like you're not supposed to, if you get any help, it's almost like you're not supposed to own anything. It's crazy. I'm wrong. I thought it said Medicare, Medicaid. Oh, what up, Katie? The Medicare is for elders. All right. In the article I read, it says, hold on. Medicare is a federal program primarily for 60. Yeah, Medicare, you're right. Sorry, Katie's right. Medicare is for federal program primarily for those 65 and older and certain younger individuals with disabilities. Medicaid, on the other hand, is a joint federal and state program that provides health coverage for low-income individuals and families, including children, pregnant women, and people with disabilities. Virginia says our government system is, as a whole, Ponzi scheme, and they support private businesses to operate as such to insurance scam anyone. Oh, insurance. I remember when I was young, I was a teenager, and getting insurance, and I just thought in my head, my mom was talking about it one time, she was like, getting insurance, policy, all this other stuff, and you just think, damn, even when you die, somebody is financially benefiting from it. It's just, and then funeral, it's just crazy. It's just, from life to death, somebody's trying to make a dollar off of it. It's crazy. Anyway, let's see. What is this? All right, we can skip this too. All right, last tab. I want to get to this now. All right, already up. Black population in U.S. reaches 51.6 million. Now, that number has been 43 to 45 for the longest. Now, this is blackdemographics.com. Their that number that threshold has crossed 51 million. And this is Black Americans. This is not including what they call people that fit multiple check boxes. So 15% of the U.S. population, now at least, supposedly is Black in this country. I want to show I'm gonna use that as a barometer for what we get to later when we talk about the immigration. Hold on. Also, this was a story. I saw this. Hold on. This is like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, maybe sometime last week. This right here became a critique. Fans criticized Beyonce for wearing for shirt calling Native Americans the enemies of peace. I knew we were being undercounted. What's the source of those numbers? That's blackdemographics.com. I still think that number is low. I'm confident, very confident in saying that number is definitely over 60 and going up past that more than likely. The Buffalo soldiers served in 6 military units created by Civil War in 1866. They were formerly enslaved men, freedmen, and black civil rights soldiers. I don't trust that site. Why not? Oh, they don't say something you disagree with before or something? What up, Mark? Now, this is the thing that got people in arms. I'm just fuck them people. So this shirt, this is not merch, as I saw some people saying. This shirt right here, because remember on this tour she's on, a lot of this stuff is paying respects to Black American culture, figures, certain moments, all the other stuff. Like on Juneteenth, she had a show somewhere, and a whole bunch of people in the crowd had the Juneteenth flags in the crowd, which I don't think she gave them that for some reason. I feel like they did it on their own. So she didn't wear this, but a fan just gave her this or something like that. And in this, it called Native American, it was talking about the history of the Buffalo soldiers and what they were doing in their defense of this country. And it used a term against people who, let me make sure I get the term correct, the enemies of peace. It referred to Native Americans as the enemies of peace. And I saw all type of people on social media calling Black people all type of this and that, saying if we bring up this history and don't immediately just talk down on them, that we're supporting genocide and displacement. And it was strange because it's like, wait, some of these tribes, and this is obviously owned slaves, and not only that, some of these tribes were, I'm not going to use the term Black. I'm not going to use that term. I'm going to say they were considered dark-skinned people who, as time went on, some of them were forced on census to call themselves Black, but that's a whole nother point. But in a situation like this, the people that they were battling against were not always these innocent people being driven off of land. This was a people who were in a country, former slaves, who joined the military for a reason, who were dealing with another people who were fighting for something on their side. This wasn't no situation where Black people were just coming along, bullying or just killing and mercilessly killing these innocent people in a lot of these scenarios. I want the shirt having made next week. I said the moral savage child. They really tried it on TikTok. They were not prepared for us to hit them with all those facts. Yeah, they was Voltron formed and definitely came and showed them that it ain't what y'all trying to make it out to be. And I did see the people calling her, and I don't care what they say about her in particular. I mean, no offense, but it's like, okay, whatever. But they were like, she's what they call it? What's the term? She was just faking it. She's just doing it for money. She's a capitalist, as they called her. And I kept thinking, why do y'all keep wanting these celebrities to be these revolution? I don't understand. These people, in no point in their career, were trying to be the start of a revolution or continuing something. They're entertainers who may just have opinions at some point, or maybe use their art to showcase certain things. Like when she did the Super Bowl years ago with what's his name, and she did the whole tribute to the Panthers. That don't mean that she has those extreme strong views. This, like, it is what it is, but it is what it is. Whatever. I want to. Is this it? No. I want to show this here. We can move on from this.
This is why I told people to research the Buffalo Soldiers and research the tribes they were going after. This sister here did the research. She went into ChatGPT, she went into Google searching, and I told people, search it out. Literally every tribe this Buffalo Soldiers went after, because my great-great-great-great uncle, Freeman McNeil, was a Buffalo Soldier. And the story passed down was that the natives did not respect the 13th Amendment. They had a lot of us in slavery long years, decades after the fucking 13th Amendment was goddamn passed. For example, Hollywood actor Don Cheadle thought white people enslaved his folks.
This is a fact. I remember the episode with Don Cheadle on, whatchamacallit. He found out that his enslavers weren't white.
No, it was the freaking Chickasaw who had them in slavery almost 50 years after the 13th Amendment was already passed. That's the other side of the story. That's why the Buffalo Soldiers did it. That's the context. See, we have what we call temporal bias or time bias. Put yourself in their shoes at that time.
That's a fact. All right. I thought most of this stuff was known, but obviously, with this story going viral and all the critique that it gave towards her, it led to things. So I guess the headline. I remember a few years ago, the Native American tribes were not allowing black people who were Native American to claim their identity. A Native American tribe in Oklahoma denied black citizens of COVID-19 vaccines and financial relief. That was in 2021. And there was a lawsuit, I think it was in where they were forced to allow somebody to claim their actual identity, a couple black people, to be a part of an actual tribe that they kicked them out of. So this ain't new. These ain't friends. This isn't common gold people. You gotta hold your own nuts. Federal judge blocks Trump administration from ending temporary legal status for many Haitians. Last week, DHS announced it is terminating their legal protections as soon as September 2nd, setting more than 5,000 Haitians up for potential deportation. So there was an article released on Juneteenth of people still fighting for citizenship. Yeah. We've talked about it a couple times on the channel over the years. But yeah, the deportations of Haitians. Now, I was supposed to talk about this like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't go live. Saturdays have been a little chaotic, but should be back on track next week. But this story originally 2 weeks ago when I was going to talk about it, it was being talked about because obviously with the thing that was going on in LA with the raids going on around the country with a lot of immigrants being deported. Then Trump announced that, and a lot of the Haitians were making the point that this is a black issue. We talked about this before. And obviously a lot of black people didn't agree that this is not a black issue and this does not benefit black people to fight against this. And they kept trying to paint this one dude from Jamaica as a black American who was deported. That was the thing. They kept all these people who kept making videos and writing articles trying to make black Americans think that they can be deported. And it was head scratching because if you didn't know no better, you would think that these ICE agents are going into random neighborhoods, grabbing up random people and accusing them of being immigrants. And it's like, no. These people, a lot of them came into the country, their name, fingerprints, and pictures were taken. They came to the country. They were supposed to leave at some point or check in, and they didn't. They're looking for particular people. They have their names. They have how they look. They know where they are, their address. They're not just picking up random people trying to deport them. So no, they will not go to a random black American's house, knock on his door, and make him leave and go with him to deport him. They're gonna ask him what his name is. There's a difference. Also, these judges have too much power. Send them home. Mark says 60 Minutes did a piece on Native Americans kicking black Americans out when they started getting reparations checks. Yeah, because, and we know those people, those Mongolians, those Asians, whatever you want to call them, those Asiatic people, they know who was here during the early ages of just the people who came to America. Like there was a difference between who was on the West Coast and who was on the East Coast. There was a big difference. They know that. But history have painted them to be the only Native Americans, the only people who are quote unquote native to this country, and that everybody else either was forced to be here or are immigrants. I don't know if it's reparations from where these people had two oppressors, both sides needed. Then I want to show this because in the midst of these deportations, you're starting to hear people talk about the job openings. I think I showed that 2 weeks ago. Job sites, construction, and a lot of other places. Except Trump is saying that anybody who works in the agriculture on these farmlands, that the people who run these farms should have a little bit more discretion on if they're allowed to stay or not. So basically, people that work in agriculture can stay. Everybody else got to go. That's what Trump is on. But racial True. I know her from that TV show Half and Half. I don't know anything else she's done. A few months ago, sometime last year maybe, she had a little run-in with certain people online talking about ADOS and stuff. Now she's back again, and she said this. This is about the deportations and the possible openings for certain jobs. She said, foundational blacks are excited because there are more low-paying manual labor jobs available for Black Americans. It's not the flex you think it is. Now, I'm bringing this up because in all her responses, she kept trying to minimize people who work in manual labor, saying how she wants more Black people to be teachers and CEOs and executives, which goes along with, as many people call, the elitist mindset she had, where it goes into the idea of, you know, number one, whenever you hear people talk about immigration who are pro-immigration, they always say, well, they do the jobs nobody else want to do. Well, a person like her will express that same sentiment to make that the reality. So because she's saying these are bad jobs, so let these people in here, in the country, to do these bad jobs, it sounds like you want a certain lower class people to be here, and you're saying you don't want to be Black people. And I can respect it if that's what you're standing on. If somebody's going to be the bottom caste, I don't want to be my people, which is the thing that's being fought over right now in America, with who is going to be the bottom tier for the next 100 years. If her point was, I don't want us to be that, this would be a whole different point that she's making right here, which is more so we should have them here because I don't want them to do these jobs simply because of an elitist mindset. And this goes along straight into this, which is something we've all noticed. And I say after Kamala Harris ran and lost, the Democratic Party is going to move on from Negroes. So let me play this right here.
There is no group of people in America who are owed more than Black people and have gotten less. There's not one group. We've spent the last few years talking about Latinos who have now passed Black people as a voting bloc and an economic bloc. Yep. We now talk only about immigrants coming from other countries. Yep. We speak about Jews and Muslims, frankly, more than American-born Black people. Yep. They know that the conversation has moved on from them. Mamdani is talking about immigrants more than Black people.
Yeah.
They know that. They're not stupid. They're well aware that the Democratic Party's kind of moved on a little bit from Black people.
Yeah.
They get it.
Uh-huh.
They get it.
Yeah, some of
They're
it.
going, yeah. We pick up what you're putting down. So I think Cuomo to them has name
There's no question to do coke
recognition, and they're, they understand that this is going in the direction that doesn't include them. The Democrats are building a coalition that does include Black people.
Agreed. I know it says they're not a voting bloc. That's delusional. Well, yeah, I think they moved on from the idea of having an entire Latino voting bloc. They're not getting 80, 90%. They know they're not getting that. But I think they view it as, well, this Black population, we're guaranteed half. even at the worst of the worst, we will never dip below half. If we can get 30, 40% of other demographics, then that'll push us over the top than having to constantly, honestly, kiss they call it kissing the black blocks behind, but they're not really getting anything material, obviously. They know that as far as the Hispanic, especially when you get to the second, third generation or whatever, they're not going to sustain that and keep that. So the immigrants are supposed to come in and help them bolster that side that will vote for them. They're willing to let 10 plus million of these people get in every 4 years just to simply keep that block going. And even if in 3 generations they're going to vote differently, their kids, it don't matter because we're trying to win each election individually. Mark said, Ann Coulter talked about the DNC moving on from us. I'm not a fan of her. Ann Coulter says things sometimes that you know, broken clock. She says things you agree with. Then there's times where she kind of go off the Richter. But yeah, she typically when it comes to her commentary on black people in the Democratic Party, she's pretty spot on because anybody can see it. So DNC has to lose for the next 5 years. I would love to think they would, but I don't think so. It depends on what happens in the next 2 years or so with any of the candidates they're pushing. Things can change dramatically left or right for the Republican Party or at least Trump's administration. As far as the economy and stuff, a lot of his supporters are falling off. We'll see if things turn around for, the system in the next 2 years or so. I don't think it's going to happen that quick. But we'll see what they're able to convince people of. All right, let me show this. This is back to the deportations.
Speaking about what this is going to mean for hundreds and thousands of my people.
Passionate testimony of Haitian leaders in the South Florida community echoed through the Katz restaurant and bar in North Miami Sunday evening.
I don't want just a regular town hall where everybody's venting. We need a strategy session.
The meeting discussed the Trump administration's decision to terminate temporary protective status for about 500,000 Haitians in the U.S. effective in September.
I don't know if 10 weeks is necessarily a sufficient amount of time for someone to disconnect themselves if they've been in this country 15 years.
Haitians in South Florida expressing how they felt when they heard the news.
I was in tears because I felt so betrayed that they were telling the American people that Haiti is okay when, as an American citizen who is of Haitian descent, I know that it is not safe, that right now in Port-au-Prince, there are no flights. Right there, and it's been months since there have not been any flights in Port-au-Prince.
According to the...
Let me ask y'all a question. Haiti is since their president was assassinated, I've seen a lot of the stuff going on there, and Haitians saying it's unsafe, and I've seen some of them call for something that I thought they never would call for. And do y'all agree that America needs to intervene in Haiti? I've seen way too many I've seen a lot of Haitians on social media say that they want America to intervene, boots on the ground, in Haiti. I thought I would never hear them say that, but I guess to them it's gotten, at least the ones that don't live in Haiti, it's gotten so bad where they're asking for that. I think it'd be insane to do that because you know what it's going to lead to, resource exploitation. It's not going to go well. But I've seen more and more of them say that it's not going to get better. And it could be, and this is where me and Travis always joke that Haiti has a certain place when it comes to empathy they get from most Black Americans. I could see them just being tired. For 100+ years, they had to deal with all type of stuff coming their way, whether it be other countries sending sanctions on them or just natural disasters. To a point where it's like they might just be tired of being in the position they're in. They're like, forget it. Boots on the ground. Come on, America. Maybe they feel it can get no worse than this. Arnold says, I knew it was temporary. They were just celebrating Flag Day plus 1 + 1 is 2. It's safe to return. It's funny because somebody said temporary status. How is it temporary status if you've been here for 15 years? She said, hell no. Just the Clintons need to intervene in Haiti and give them back their money they stole from them. I agree. Mark says, didn't the U.S. assassinate Haiti president? Yes, and it just kind of pretty much the U.S. The CIA hired. This is all alleged. The CIA hired some Colombian hit squad led by some, or at least seemingly led by 2 American Haitian men. Not led as far as were the ones who put it in motion, but the intel through 2 Haitian men killed the Haitian president, and it kind of just nothing happened. Virginia said, I saw a TikTok video of a young lady claiming that Haitians are the original black inhabitants of America. Man, the stuff I've heard from Caribbeans, I've heard Jamaicans say they're not African, that they are indigenous to Jamaica. I heard them say that Caribbeans are indigenous to all those islands, and that's just what they are. I've heard it all. But it's funny how when black Americans say we are a particular indigenous group, as in not all, but some, they call you all type of crazy and anti-African. Animal says, stop with all the pity narrative. Everyone not wrong about Haiti. Let the Caribbean or those other countries help them. Well, that's the thing. Haiti is kind of treated like the black sheep of the Caribbean. Clown shit. When it comes to Haitians, they treat it like the black sheep of the islands. Like, they're not really treated like a tourist destination by foreigners. And as far as the people who live in those countries, Haiti isn't treated like, for instance, Jamaica or Trinidad or hell, even the country that's connected to them, the Dominican Republic, the DR. So it's not pity. It's just you look at something, you just go, there's clearly historically a difference in how this place is operating and how they're being impacted versus the others. Virginia says, it's safe to say that melanin skin tone is indigenous to Earth 4 corners. That's what it say. We're everywhere, exactly. The others are vagabonds. I'm gonna say it's pity. Well, call it what you want. It's the truth to me. But yeah. What is this? Oh, we ain't going nowhere. Black immigrants left out of California's deportation protests. So obviously the protests focus more on Latinos or Mexicans in particular. And the Haitians feel like they're being left out of those protests. This is the article. Black immigrants in California are being left out of the deportation protest conversations, while headlines focus on Latin American migration. Or advocates warn that anti-black immigration policies are quietly removing Californians of African descent from their homes and from a national spotlight. I don't know what that means. Californians of African descent. Are you talking about immigrants or what are you talking about?
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th.
I know y'all remember this.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one?
This is the point where everybody was debating on birthright citizenship, as in, do that only pertain to Black Americans, or can Black Americans be excluded from that? Technically,
That one is likely to be found.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. We have very good grounds. People have wanted to do this for decades.
And obviously that birthright citizenship thing is what led to certain commentators saying stuff like this.
Trump snatch up, say, 100 African Americans and deport them to Sudan or Libya or Nicaragua or El Salvador or wherever. Those people are gone. They're out of the country. They're God knows wherever. And so let's say one of their family members file a lawsuit on their behalf. And let's say they successfully get an injunction from the judge. Well, it used to be, before this case, that the judge could say, basically, you got to return all 100 of these African Americans because you unlawfully deported them. But now, with this case, the judge could only say you got to bring that one person back. And the other 99, although it's unlawful, he cannot prohibit that unless they do a class action lawsuit.
Well, you just explained it. If this scenario was to happen, you just do a class action instead of an individual. All right, man.
And people, class action lawsuits can take months, if not years, to get certified. So those other 99 African-American people could be over there lingering, rotten in some jail or whatever, while their cases matriculates through the court system. It's almost like saying you can't kill that man after you done shot him. Listen, this court case essentially said to judges, you cannot issue nationwide injunctions except for certified class action lawsuits, even if what he is doing is unlawful. So if you phrase the question this way, can Trump lawfully deport African Americans? The answer is clearly no. But that's not the question. The question is, can he deport African Americans even if it's unlawful? The answer to that question is yes.
Yeah, so they were pushing that narrative for a couple weeks. Obviously, the dude is a clown. That Black Americans can be deported. Like I said, that's not what's happening. You would think if this was a possibility, right? They've been deporting people through ICE for decades. You would have more than one example of a Jamaican man being deported who was born in Germany at a military base. You have more than that one example of Black Americans being accidentally thought to be another demographic that they're not. You would have examples of this. Now, if your whole point is they want Black people out of the country and this is the way they're going to do it, this is not. They could have did it in the late 1800s when they had a Back to Africa movement. Where they had to ask Black Americans, do you want to go back to Africa? And they said no. So you know what happens? They didn't do nothing. They stayed. If they wanted to get rid of you, they would have forced it then. Why would they wait till now to do that? It don't make sense. But anyway. We can skip that too. Oh, this was in another more of this LA talk. Let me play some of this one.
Where? Do you want the door slammed on you? Okay. Do you want masked men jumping out of cars to grab on you? No. Do you want to have no place for refuge? That is what we are experiencing right now as Black migrants and as other immigrants in this country and in this city, in this county, and in this state. That's real. When we think of Black immigrants in Los Angeles, we must remember 1 out of every 5 Black people in LA is a Black immigrant.
Now remember, I showed that study that said that Black neighborhoods that have a growing Black immigrant population are the ones that get gentrified the fastest. When Black neighborhoods introduce a group of Black immigrants, the Black Americans move out and white people move in with the Black immigrants. So them saying that 1 in 5 Black people in LA are immigrant background proves it to be true because we see how many of these neighborhoods that were once Black neighborhoods are no longer that. Mark says one of the reasons our ancestors said no is because they were sold away again. Honorable says, where are the immigrant men? A lot of women doing the talking. Well, because it looks better. The presentation is better than having a group of men saying they want to stay in the country. as much as people don't want to acknowledge this, when they deport these people, in reality, they're really thinking about the men. They're not really thinking about they will deport women, obviously, but that ain't the main thing. It's the men they want to deport. So if a man is standing in front of a camera saying, "Let me stay in your country," it looks like begging. It looks like, oh, this pathetic man don't want to go back to his country, his culture, his kingdom. He want to stay in mine. It looks like a dude who wants to be on somebody's couch. So they don't look right. So instead you get women to do it. Because now when you think of woman, you think children. So it's optics. You're not gonna have too many men get in front of a camera like this, in front of a microphone, saying don't deport us. It look crazy. Arnold said this doesn't look good. If that was a Jamaican, Nigerian, Ghanaian man standing there saying this, it would be viewed a lot differently.
Either born outside the country or a child of black immigrants such as myself and my wife. 1 out of every 5. There is no Earl's Grill without the Trinidadian mama. There is no marathon without Nipsey Hussle's daddy. Right? We know we are eating Jamaican patty and we are happy. We are taking African dance class in Lamert Park. How are we doing all of this without black immigrants? Shake your hair if it got braided by a black immigrant. We are part and parcel of this community. You cannot terrorize a fifth of this community, 20% of this community, and think that it's not black people's fight. You're deluding yourselves. You're bamboozled, you're hoodwinked. As our black immigrant brother, child of Sister Lynn.
Y'all get the point. So it's funny they said that when you said it's a black issue, but it seemed like everybody that showed up to hear you speak was immigrants. So clearly, it was viewed as not a black issue. Let me show this right quick. They got this from Mark. Let me play this right quick. Hold on.
There is a big...
Mark said, this is why I no longer say black immigrants. Instead, I say Caribbean or African immigrants. Honorable says, if men can't use their voices for this, they should never speak again. Think about all these gender debates are led by black immigrant men, and this they hold their tongue for. I don't know about that either. The gender war debates. I don't know. Maybe I just don't see it. I don't know.
Difference between how Jamaicans and Americans view blackness. It appears to me that Jamaicans don't necessarily say I'm black or I'm this or I'm that. They will first and foremost say I am Jamaican. Why is that? Explain that to me.
Jamaicans will readily say I am a Jamaican, but hesitate to say I am black or identify with any of the movements globally. But that when it's time, whenever something happens that is a racial incident, the Jamaicans can identify with it. But it's not the same thing as living every day with a consciousness of blackness.
So, given all of that, and the fact that Jamaicans may not even right off the bat say, I am black, but it's innately understood, why is it then that Jamaicans get upset when someone like Donald Trump says Kamala Harris turned black?
At the heart of that is a certain kind of white privilege that ought to be named for what it is. I can understand why it would be seen as egregious, completely problematic for someone to determine that another can't claim who they want to be or how they want to be seen in the world. And I think Jamaicans would get upset because it is out of order for anyone to determine that you can't say who you are in the world.
The motto...
Wait, what? How can you force your way into my ethnic group? And if I tell you, no, you're not, it's egregious. All right. said those aren't African American platforms. It's all immigrants led. Regina says, glad you stated black immigrant men, because lately they've been leading towards the same versus American black men. Black men convenient, huh? Black men convenient, exactly. And she's saying that you're not supposed to call it out, or at least Trump. He's not supposed to be able to call it out. Speaking of the deportations too, I want to show this, because the whites are out there still, calling themselves protesting for them. Now you saw the Asian lady, the older Asian women doing the fan dance. Now you got white people doing the electric slide. The song they chose just don't even. As these things went on, I realized more and more, like everybody else, there's just no soul in these protests. It's just people just out there walking around wandering, just trying to have a good time. Then the question becomes, what does this even solve? You're in the middle of a highway dancing. What's I don't understand. Virginia says, soulless beings slip and slide. I didn't get to edit this down, but I'm going to play a few minutes of this. I didn't get to edit this down. I wanted to edit this down to play more of this. But there was a slight argument. I want to show some of it. Because I'm seeing more of this.
Problems are not their problems. So your problems are not my problems.
My people help you people.
That is a lie.
My people help your people when you
lost Texas because of you guys.
Why don't you look that up?
You guys went to Mexico
when you guys were slaves. Look that up.
You guys came to Mexico for refuge.
Floyd, all you guys is little episodes.
What about when you guys were running away? When you guys were
been
slaves,
there all
my
along.
people helped you. My people helped you.
I grew up in Long Beach and
What about in LA in the riots? You guys caused riots.
Texas,
You guys don't
look
even
it up.
protest.
My people helped you in Texas.
You guys riot.
Wait. Hold on. And first of all,
And stop saying these people. Stop saying these people.
I'm preventing, and there's literally 4 people speaking over me.
Yeah, stop
so you
saying
see
these
how when you
people.
start
You stop speaking.
It's funny how history gets rewritten. Those black people who went to Mexico weren't necessarily helped by Mexicans. Matter of fact, there was the first president who was quote unquote black ended something that the rest they tried to reintroduce later on. So how many decades have there been a black population in Mexico and y'all literally ignored them off of the census until like 2018 or something like that? There have been darker skinned Mexicans in Mexico for decades, but only in the last decade have you even acknowledged their existence. What is going on?
When I started speaking, ma'am, I gave you the opportunity.
Because I don't speak over men. Because I should never be in a position where I need to speak over men. That's the reason why I stopped talking when you started talking.
You spoke over the other girl.
I only speak when you're quiet, ma'am. I'm educated.
Okay, just let her go because she's like anxious to talk about us. Go ahead, go.
So like I was saying.
Can she get a timer like everybody else, please?
No, it's okay. Just let her go on.
I had a timer up there. No,
it's
just
okay.
keep
Just
it
let her go on. Just let her go on.
Keep it real. Keep it real. Give her a timer like
She's so
everybody else.
desperate. Go ahead, go.
Hold on. Everybody go. Everybody go. 1 second.
Give her a timer, bro.
Hold on, everybody.
Just let her go talk. Wait a minute.
Wait. Hold on. It's the host. We're gonna let her finish, but I had to shout out my sibling talking about he ain't her watch. He said you need to control your live better.
Or delusions of grandeur. And Regina. Mark said they lost parts of Mexico because they were broke. The U.S. bought it for $3 million in gold, which is about $3 to $4 trillion today. What did they do with that money? Exactly. Anima said, I love how Mexicans believe they're indigenous as New Spain and the settlers. That's another thing. When you talk to them for the most part, historically, they're very proud of their Spaniard DNA. they try to act like they want the quote unquote native. Like we see them do these DNA tests on YouTube, these videos. They'll act like they're so proud of the native, but majority of them are like 70+% Spaniard. So what are we talking about?
Yo, my sibling in here trying to tell me how to run my live. Fuck you.
She's so desperate to talk about us. Just let her talk. Go.
But go ahead. I want her to speak, Amara.
So again, these people have documented history of not wanting to be allies with us. They have told us out of their own mouths that our problems are not theirs. So I don't know what you want to do, Buki. Like, I don't know what you want to do. My people fixed this table here for us. We were kind enough to invite you guys at our table, and now you feel entitled to eat off of everybody's plate. You done came up in our house. You didn't take your shoes off at the door. You done went in my refrigerator. You done helped yourself to all of my stuff, and you have been unwelcome guest. And now you got a bitty bum bum back across the border, and now you crying about it. You guys are being sent back.
She's like a new generation. She's a new generation black person. She's a new generation. She's not like the old school, like black people that kicked it with us and hung with us. This is like, she's like a young bug.
Guess what? Hold on.
I'm not gonna put the whole thing. They went on for like 40 minutes and that. I agree, Regina. Delusions of grandeur. When she says they're not like the old ones, it's so hilarious because the old ones didn't mess with you either. See, and this is where that idea when you grow up near another culture and it becomes normal to you, they think that everybody moves that way. Especially talk about LA, New York, certain places in like Texas. They think because the Negroes that was next to them moved a certain way, that all people move that way. And it's not true. And they know it ain't. Your political leaders went out of their way to let people know we are not black. We are not associated with anything to do with them politically until they needed something from you. When they wanted to copy what you're doing. I played a video before when they decided to adopt the civil rights movement as something they moved with because it benefited them. So they wanted to be able to be white and be a minority. Anonymous says, our people fighting with them all over social media and NAACP has taken to the streets to protect them. Shake my That's not... NAACP has told you it is not a black organization. It is a colored organization. It's for colored people, people of color. It is not for black people. Jen says funny because they all sound new generation. That's why. Go. If you ask her grandfather, you ask her grandmother their views on black people, I guarantee you that new generation shit. It'll sound like current and old generation. Jen say it's hitting me now. Is all this chaos tied to Marxism and socialism? Just new faces with revisionist histories all over again? Exactly. They're introducing these things where it's like an overstimulation. They, like I said when the week before last when I had that video, and the Mexican dude was saying, "Where's all these black people?" He kept naming black celebrities and black people that should step out for them, and I kept asking, why aren't you asking your own celebrities and political leaders to say something? Because that's not the point. Chaos is necessary in this society, and you need constant. They really want to destroy the idea of racial identity. As I said earlier, with the Indian dude calling himself African American on the application, they don't want race to. Well, they want their identities to survive. But like I said before, black people are seen as the victims of society. Everybody view black people as victims. So in order to gain some level of validity in their stuff going on, they have to compare and contrast it with black Americans. So if black Americans don't take it on as something that they should fight for, that's a problem in society, then it's not validated. We saw it with every movement that ever existed in this country when it comes to quote unquote oppressed people. It has to start through black people first. I don't say yes, Virginia, and they're using the immigration for the rollout. Virginia says the Pale Man really, if ever, changes the playbook. Same old, just new voices. Yeah. All right, let's get through these last pieces. I'm gonna play this one too.
They come to this country because they want a better life. And they also send money back by the billions. Just Mexico alone, 60+ billion gets sent there every year. And now we're seeing the results. People are self-deporting in record numbers, only to go back to their countries to find out that the homes that they thought that they were sending money from were not built. That people built their own homes, like mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, wives. All the money is spent, and there's nowhere for these people who are going back to lay their head. I've seen countless videos of where parents tell them, no, you're not welcome here. After decades of sending them money. It's a harsh reality that you come, you break your back here, and they live a better life in the country you left with the money that you sent them. And that's the harsh truth. There's thousands of videos here. I wish I could.
That's crazy. Imagine sending money back to your family for 20 years. You get back and they tell you can't live here. Thanks for the help. God, it's going to be furniture moving. I'm sorry. Nobody is living here. Regina says, if so-called blacks wouldn't see themselves collectively as victims, it would be game over. Well, it's this weird thing where that people viewing us that way obviously has an extreme negative thing attached to it, but also somehow it has a level of influence that I think a lot of people don't want to give up. It's almost like you expect people to pity or to have empathy or sympathy for you because of the history that black people have been through in this country. And as long as you keep making sure that stays at the forefront of people's minds, people think that it would lead to people treating them better in the future. And instead they use it as a way to use it as a stepping ladder, a stepping stool to get to where they want to get. They are like they're on your side, they agree with you on some level, and that we can build together. And then once they get a foothold in this country, build a certain level of economic power, they move on. Honestly, I don't know about victims. They know we have the receipts. They don't want to play oppression Olympics with us. They all sold out for white adjacent. Yeah. They need to go home and strategize how to overthrow their governments. Their governments don't operate the same way. They will kill them in the streets. It ain't the same as America where you get tased. You might get arrested for a weekend. You might get pepper spray. Over there, they shoot guns at crowds. Oh, yeah, lineage not raised. California's strategy to advance equity for descendants of slaves. We already went through that. They obviously switched up and went from the racial angle to the lineage, which they should have did from the beginning. Mark said it's hard to see opportunities as human relatable. Yeah. By any means necessary. They're not ready for that. Most people in the West ain't ready for the move like that. I think Trump is going to start taxing the remittance. By the way, speaking of people from other countries, I didn't get to verify this. Everywhere I looked, it didn't verify. It just kept saying alleged possible connections and stuff. Thomas Sowell, he's 95 years old. His birthday passed. And if somebody asked the question, what is his ethnicity? I never thought to ask. And somebody said he has Caribbean roots. And I thought, there's no way all these years passed. I think Mark sent this. I thought there's no way all these years passed. And I never thought to wonder what his background was. Same with Larry Elder. I hate him with a passion. Strange feud. Damn, strange. Damn, honorable. And another one whose background, Obama 2.0, they're trying to push to the forefront for a possible run. But then I tried to verify it too, Duke, regarding Thomas Sowell. Someone claimed he was actually Nigerian, but Google wasn't giving up the deets. Can't find nothing out no more. I remember years ago, when you go on social media Google, and you look up somebody's name and type race or ethnicity, you would get a full breakdown because nobody does interviews anymore. Nobody really does interviews anymore talking about their background and history and stuff that much. You go look now, it's hard to find who people are. They'll tell you, it'll say American. Okay, they're American, but what's their background? Or American from Connecticut or American from Chicago. And after hours of digging, if you care that much, you find out they're from somewhere else. But let me play this. This is during Black Music Month. We see the play, obviously. This, like I said, Obama 2.0. Even though he got into a lot of trouble when he vetoed down the reparations bill, the reparations study, but then he came out and said, we don't need a study. Then he did, I'm going to show all the other stuff he did to try to make up for that.
Nah, I ain't gonna sing.
Just a little bit.
No, man.
Oh, pirates.
Oh, pirates, yes, they're all mine.
I wonder how long it's going to take him to play some blues like Clinton. Is he going to play basketball like Obama? I'm going to say lineage matters is growing. He won't get the experience in the next Obama. They're lineage from us. As far as we know, he's somewhere else. She is not Michelle next.
Redemption song.
Redemption song, Bob Marley.
Yes, the legend. This song is beautiful.
So wait, Black History Month, playing Black Music Month, they're playing Bob Marley. Okay. But obviously he did this. Governor Moore announces additional action to close Maryland's racial wealth gap by promoting just community investments and expanding cannabis pardons. He pardoned a bunch of people and he expanded the, I think this is the headlines right here. Yeah, Governor Moore pardons more cannabis offenses, directs $400 million to disinvest communities. This ain't gonna do it, player. Recognition of Juneteenth, American governor. This is obviously last month. Governor Wes Moore on Thursday announced the pardon of nearly 7,000 additional cannabis-related convictions and the allocation of $400 million in state funds to communities historically impacted by discriminatory policies. We saw that even after Juneteenth, there were still some very creative policies that were put in place focusing on increasing the racial wealth gap and having some of the greatest wealth theft that we saw in our nation's history. Moore, a Democrat, said in Thursday morning interview with the Baltimore Sun. So I just learned that Bob had a Buffalo Soldier song during that Beyonce Indigenous nonsense a mess. Yeah. And that's what people kept bringing it up too. Was Bob Marley this? Because he had his whole song about him. I have a song about, but yeah. All right, let's get to this. We got two more stories and we're going to get out of here. I want to play this now.
That's right. I blame Pan-Africans for a lot of the bullshit because Pan-Africans used to always try to destroy Black America to try to lift up Africa.
Yeah,
and
true.
in doing so,
I'm
you have Africans talk shit about Black America. You have Black Americans talk shit about Black America. And at some point, someone's going to get tired of them and say, you know what? If all of y'all talking about us, fuck Pan-Africanism
That's exactly
and fuck Africa. That's what you get.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Mark said a Black Music Month was from President Carter in the 70s. It's supposed to be about Black American music. That's what I'm saying. You decide to talk about a Bob Marley song during Black Music Month. It's like, all right, man. That's very brave.
I don't agree on Johnson or anything, but that's exactly what happened. You know, we the Pan-African allowed this shit to go on like this. People talking about us, letting people talk about our community and stuff like that. You know, taking shots at us when we talking about Black America. Look, I tell you, my story is this: I became a Pan-Africanist back in the early '90s, right? I was taught to hate being Black American. I changed my name. I used to tell my father, look, if we don't stop going to these slave fucking plantations, meeting your fucking white devil, co-owners or whatever the hell that was, owners from back in the days, the descendants, whatever. You know, I'm gonna change my name. He said, "Oh boy, man, you make what?" I changed my name. He thought I was kidding. I did it. I saw a lawyer, $300, man. Boom. You know, a week later, said, "I got your paperwork. Sign here, sign here, sign here. Your new name." And boom, I was a free man. I was done with the fucking thing. I said I will never be a Black American ever again. You know, I was taught to hate myself. That's all it was. Pan-Africa is mostly ain't about you. It's about Black America hating themselves. That's all it is. You know, and uplifting Africa and hating themselves. You know, that's all it is. I did it. You know.
I'm gonna say they recruit our people that are paying B on college campuses heavy. When I heard this, whenever I've heard Pan-Africans speak, especially when they speak on people who say certain things from other countries, and I said this before, they always give them a certain grace that they don't extend to other Black Americans. So somebody in another country would say something foul, and they won't say nothing back. They'll just ignore it. They'll tell you ignore it. They're ignorant to certain situations. They're just believing American propaganda about Black people. But if a Black American say something that they deem to be disrespectful, they will have entire threads. They'll go on, just call them everything but a child of God to disrespect them. And I always thought that's because there was obviously a certain level of romanticizing they do to Africa, where, you know, they call it Mother Africa, the motherland. So there's a certain level of deifying they do when it comes to that whole situation. It's a religion. I always say Pan-Africanism is a religion, somewhat. Now I got to show this. Because this woman right here, Karen Hunter, she's another one of these trust fund babies.
Need a Elon Musk in our community? I say no. If there's somebody that's making that much money, maybe I guess, socialist.
You should say that. No, but that's the thing.
She's a socialist.
Yeah,
you got to back up from that.
I mean, I remember a few years ago when you talked to Jerry Ball. You know,
yeah, it's a Black man.
Radical and very necessary and important ideas about how this society should be transformed. He also doesn't live them. So my thing is,
he said he ain't about that life. He write books on being radical, but he ain't about that life. I don't say, is that a Black man? Yeah, that's a Black man. Virginia says, Duke, you're not lying. And the way folks is beefing online does feel like a dang religion. And Karen Hunter and Dr. Carr, boy, oh boy, shake my damn head.
The theory is great.
See, and I don't know what people are doing until they reveal it, right? Because I'm not on the.
Well, you could just see them.
Yeah.
This is why the whole academic class. That's why I said the university has to be jailbroken, because the very people writing about radical transformation are tenured college professors with good benefits. So when they start talking about voting for Jill Stein or the third or the fifth or the 15th party in communism, I just start laughing. I'm saying, because some people who are mopping the floor in the building where you're doing the Zoom from with that salary need some health care. I'm laughing at y'all. I agree with you in theory. I will go page for page with you on the theory. But then we got to go home. And last time I checked, you got in the Uber. Did you ask that person who was not able to organize for collective bargaining because Kamala Harris's brother-in-law was sitting at Uber and said, we got to break this policy?
This is what I don't get. You spent the entire election cycle defending Kamala Harris, saying you want her in office. Now you bring up something that we talked about, which is that her brother-in-law is with Uber. Now you bring it up. Now these people. Oh boy. Honorable says, who is Karen Hunter? Is that the media? Yes, she's been around for a long time. She's on Sirius XM. I think it is right now. She has a show. She's had a show for a long time. But yeah. Mark says, I remember when Hunter said, just pay your bills when talking about student loans, like she was detached from Black Americans to live paycheck to paycheck. Oh, she is detached. She didn't come from that lifestyle. She grew up with wealthy parents. That's why it's hilarious that she's calling herself a socialist. Virginia says, Dr. Jared be shaking his damn head too at them and others. Some Black intellectualism has a lot of Marxism, socialism, communist roots. I'm learning. Like I said, man, when I went back and started reading years ago, I started reading on the Panthers and the civil rights movement, not just the 60s, when you go back to the 40s and 50s, when they had that Red Scare in America where they were accusing a lot of these celebrities of being communists, it wasn't all lies. It wasn't all lies. Some of these people were absolutely trained Marxists. As the Black Lives Matter women said, they were trained Marxists. The whole civil rights movement, these people were trained Panthers. So it definitely changes your opinion on a lot of this stuff. Even if it was for a good cause, in some instances, some of them had their heart was in the right place. It showed why a lot of those things failed, because they were going about it they had the right intentions, but they were using the wrong vehicle. Honorable says he got kicked out of the circle and telling everybody. Honorable said, did she interview your vet? Yes, she did. Years ago when ADOS first became a thing, she did an interview. She was talking crazy about them now. But yeah, she did.
you can't get where you're going by just talking about it and writing it.
I don't know if maybe she didn't interview it, but she definitely talked about it. I know for a fact she talked about it. But I don't know.
Now you will get a nice book contract and you probably get a grant, but it's cognitive dissonance to me.
But that's not the real question, Dr. Carr. The real question should be, as a tenured faculty member yourself and a former department chair at Howard University for over 30 years, where are your writings on radical transformation?
You talking all that huff and that puff, and you ain't even did it writing. You're a tenured professor that haven't even done the writing. But all these people are frauds. But this right here is what I want to get to too. This was in the comment section when somebody revealed this. Although Karen Hunter says she didn't vote for Trump, she did admit to being a registered Republican since the early 90s and avowed capitalist, and she became a millionaire through buying, selling, and owning stocks. That alone should speak volumes on her takes. She also said her father left her with $300K, so it's not like she started without a silver spoon. The most important variable to know where the sentences are coming from is to check the root. Thank you for this. It truly clarifies everything regarding her and how she moves. Where can I find this information? I listened to the Sirius radio since day one. I thought it was me hating on her, but I remember when she started. Then came Greg Carr, and then the cosplay started. And I'm like, oh, I see where the game is played. Nobody is totally 100%. I ain't hating on nobody, but please stop being intellectually dishonest. The radical posturing on Sirius 126 is nauseating. Jen says, Dr. Carr goes back and forth between Karen's show and Roland Martin's. Yeah. And that's where he did it. When he was on Roland Martin's show, and I still go back and listen to this. I'm being honest, it's a guilty pleasure. I'll go back and listen to that live stream on election night. Roland Martin did a live stream on election night. And it started, the live stream started with them confident, oh, she can win this, this, and this. Trump has no way he can win this. And then obviously very quickly into the live stream, they realized she was going to lose, and it turned into a therapy session where everybody was just venting about how this country is misogynist and racist, and they were calling out the Democratic Party, and there needs to be radical change in this government. And obviously, they ended up going back to their corners of the internet and continuing to talk good on the internet and wait for people to hand them some money. Anima says, so she is a supporter of Cobra. I don't know. Virginia says, Karen did a recent show where she admitted to be a Republican, then, of course, was pivoting back to her current socialist talking points. A socialist Republican. Anima said they were banking on our people being stupid. Man, that live stream was so funny. I was laughing so much. I go back and listen to it every few weeks, man. I just skip through the certain moments, highlights, if you will. It's hilarious. What's this? Oh, and I get a lot of stuff from this person on Twitter, non-human media. They be posting a lot of historical articles and stuff. Very good page that I follow. They be checking people too. I want to show this because nothing is new under the sun. They pointed out how in America, obviously, when somebody does something positive, they're whatever their ethnicity is, that's what it is. They are part of this particular demographic. Whenever there's something negative or viewed as something that's a negative in society, they say it's black people. They don't make it exclusive anymore. As you can see with Sexy Red, they refer to her as black culture. With other people, they make sure to separate it, delineate. I don't say that profile is annoying sometimes. Well, I only pay attention when they post stuff, historical articles and stuff. So they posted this. When something is positive, they like when people highlight their ethnicity. But when something is negative, they want to hide behind flat blackness. Here's an example from 100 years ago about Jamaican Marcus Garvey. So he said, this is a Jamaican Spanish Domingo. He said, emphasizing nationality unfavorably, so being negative, pointing out something negative that somebody from another country did, Emphasizing nationality unfavorably can have only one result, whether it is desired or not, namely, extend public hostility from an individual to his group. Need I point that the policy you are now pursuing will logically culminate in dissension within the race, and if sufficiently disseminated, make the life of West Indians among American Negroes as unsafe or unpleasant as is the life of American Negroes among their white countrymen. If you point out the wicked stuff we doing and make sure our name is on it, y'all gonna hate us as much as they hate you. Then a Black American said, Mr. Domingo also shows that he is strongly nationalistic and pointed out the large number of West Indians who have achieved. This is perfectly correct. The only trouble with Domingo is that he would hail the West Indians when they're hit, but not mention them when they miss. Finally, Domingo is the contrary, notwithstanding, the Garvey movement is a British West Indian association. It does not have a large following, even of ignorant American Negroes. So 100 years ago, think about it for a second. They were having the same debates and arguments. Nothing is new. Then when you hear what some of them had to say about Black Americans throughout history, you're not surprised that their relationship never really strengthened. I think this should be the last story. Quick. Not gonna stay on this long. No offense, but this ain't, the hottest topic to me, but I wanted to bring it up. The Essence Fest. Anwar says we should never been mixed with these soap folks. Essence Fest came and went. Saw a lot of controversies around it. I saw some controversies around it, some negative opinions, and obviously ticket sales were down. Less vendors opted in. Virginia says nothing is new, same old playboy, just new crowd to argue back and forth, saying nothing, talking loud. So I'm just gonna play some of this.
It's a Black American heritage at Essence Fest. So it's night 1 or night 2, and there is a lot of complaints coming through, and the common consensus is the culture has shifted. It no longer feels like us.
Well, the owner is African, and the owner and the CEO are African. So, and they told when they said they were gonna buy Essence, they said they wanted to make the standard to be Africanist, not just Black American culture. They wanted it to encapsulate all of the quote unquote diaspora. And it's led to them doing just that at these festivals and stuff. Now, it could be that people ain't got the money. People ain't got the money to spend. They might have done went to a couple concerts this year. They ain't got the money to spend on this, maybe. Maybe this is not a priority anymore. Maybe this hasn't been a priority the last decade. I don't know. So this was necessary for our people. It has nothing to do with targeting, or not having money. They're putting too much out there. Culture is in our space, of their culture in our spaces. Well, yeah, I saw the Target thing that the woman who is a part of this, she used to be ahead of the DEI initiative at Target, and now that that's ended, now that Target is having a partnership with Essence. I see that.
And honestly, that makes sense because the people in charge now do not value Black heritage. Essence Fest used to be known as the Cookout. It was created in 1995, created to center Black American heritage, the music, fashion, beauty, political power. It was basically like the family reunion created by Black people for Black people. Soul food, a little gospel, a little trap, NOLA. It was a culture that you felt deep in your chest. But now, not so much. It feels somewhat curated, corporatized, and it no longer feels like it centers us. The current CEO of Essence is a former DEI.
Virginia, movie Sinners is finally on HBO Max. Oh, yeah? I'm going to be honest, too. I saw a lot of you Negroes when it finally hit streaming. All of a sudden, all y'all saw it. I know y'all was watching it bootleg. I know a lot of you Negroes watch Sinners bootleg. I've never seen people be able to clip up scenes all of a sudden. We getting all of a sudden, everybody got their favorite scene. People were talking about the movie, but nobody was showing the movie. Obviously, because we're supposed to be in a movie theater. But all of a sudden, when it was up on them, when it was up on those bootleg sites, everybody's seen it all of a sudden. I see what y'all doing.
Executive for Target. So the very thing that Black Americans are protesting, she was the center of, and now she's the center. Well, she's the head, the CEO of Essence.
So y'all get the point. I want to jump. This is her. This is the woman who the CEO of Essence now.
Optimal health because we started at the wrong place. Your foot is broken and you're over here trying to make sure your face look good. But you can't walk. The last one is world. What does that mean? It means something really simple that is a pet peeve of mine that I'm going to put on the table and then we're going to shut up. All this BS about African versus U.S. black versus Caribbean black versus Canadian black versus Antarctica black. I don't have facts to prove that. We everywhere. Arctic black.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe this isn't important, but she is a lesbian who is married to a white woman.
If you allow that narrative to exist within you, you're participating in dismantling who we're supposed to be in this world, y'all.
That BS. So they had a damn jollof rice competition with all the ingredients from South America. Nothing native to Africa. She's out. They removed her quietly. Oh, they did. Regina says, no lie, you guys. I was just thinking in my head earlier today about Antarctica black that we can't prove, but very likely. Maybe. So that's the woman. And then I saw this. Keeper says, she says it like a Karen. Black. I know exactly what you mean. Black. American black.
Hi, my name is Amomi, an actor from Nigeria, and culture means earth, motherland, Africa, originality, and culture is the essence of our being, the togetherness, the oneness, the community, the society that we're from, and we should always celebrate that. So
the essence is supposed to be the soul. The essence is supposed to be the soul. Somebody posted, remind me of the intro to Boondocks. When you listen to it, I saw somebody say that the intro to Boondocks is affirmations. And I thought the intro to Boondocks was a description of soul, of that thing, that tick that Black Americans have. I would say I think this is her replacement. Oh yeah.
So yes, whatever it is, if you're African, go back to Africa and connect to your source. Thank you.
Yeah, this ain't gonna work out. And then I saw this.
She immediately said, where you from? It's Yoruba. Well, I knew you were Nigerian. I just didn't know what tribe. Really? I don't know. Information. Yeah. I'm Southern. By way of Georgia.
So they're Nigerian, and she's just a Southerner by way of Georgia. She feels othered, the Black American woman in that situation. That's what it is. Honorable says that they're a new generation of too late. They keep with the list African BS. We off that. We center in our lineage. They need to catch up. Amar said, and who is called soul people? Exactly. Y'all ever seen that? It's a I guess what's the term they use? Animation film called Soul. I think we talked about that before. That movie Soul. Anima says Amber with a white man. She ain't other too much. She feel. Oh my bad. I don't know who she is. This is what you were talking about a second ago, with the battle of Jollof versus Jambalaya at Essence Fest. Regarding Soul with Jamie Foxx. Okay. Battle of Jollof and Jambalaya. Hey, this is what I'm talking about. And this goes along with my opinion that globally, Black American culture is viewed as as I always say, it's the black culture. It is the black culture. And unfortunately, other groups, especially when they come to Western countries, whether it's America or Europe or Canada, their culture is viewed as a subculture, unfortunately, which leads to unnecessary competition. Why are you trying to compare jambalaya to jollof? They keep saying it's the same dish. It's not. Some of those ingredients in your food is not indigenous to your country. So it's not, you just started making this. You just started making this dish. Mark says they would have been better off starting their own magazine. The essence of Essence magazine was for Black American men making a magazine to show their love for Black American women. That's what it's supposed to be. But, you know, things have happened over the years. Some people passed away, some people retired, and it's led to, you know, unfortunately, the new generation don't seem to want to. I think a lot of some of our problem, and I'm not talking about respectability politics when I say this. I think unfortunately, a lot of our people don't really care about sustaining an ethnic image anymore. They're not really worried about remaining to keep a standard in public. Like I said, I always said that whether people want to agree with it or not, there is a certain level of resentment that Black women have towards Black men because they feel like the image has not been upheld the way other demographics do. And I'm not just talking about making sure you're in a commercial or on a billboard and a pretty woman, pretty attractive Black women are made sure to be on magazines. It's about sustaining that this is the standard. This is this is what we look like. This is the standard. And I think nowadays people don't care about it as much. It's not important anymore. As Honorable said, lack of cultural pride. I agree. I think that's really what it is. An awakening is happening. I hope so. I'm said both look nasty, never tasted either, and is that jambalaya Black American culture or Creole stuff? Technically, it's New Orleans dish. It's New Orleans dish, so it would be Creole. But many Black Americans, especially in the South, definitely cook jambalaya. But if you want to say where it's kind of originated from, it would be New Orleans. Virginia says, I don't travel much and I never out of the country, but for those who do, is this diaspora war only in American social media, but not in reality? It depends on what you call a war. Because if you go, there's a short Q&A I watch in a documentary form of Black Americans who moved to Ghana, and one of the all the Black Americans are coupled. There's Black man, Black woman. They moved to Ghana because they say America's unsafe, and the stories they tell will make you not want to live in Ghana. So they moved away from America because they said it's unsafe. They don't want to be in this environment no more. They want to be somewhere where they could be happy or whatever. Energy change. But they're also saying that while they're there, their kids are getting spit at by Ghanaian children. So they're getting certain comments from the locals. They're making sure they raise the prices of stuff because they found out they're American. They're treating them differently and poorly. It's like, that's kind of the same thing you would see online. It's just not verbally said. It's actually done physically. People are doing stuff to you because you are Black American. So now that's not all, obviously, but there's enough examples to know that this stuff definitely is real life. Honorable says it's everywhere, Regina. They all content creators or speakers that give lectures on us. Yeah. And although you have some that try to make it seem like, you know, everything is peaches and cream, but yeah, some of them tell the truth. Some of them tell the truth. Let me show this right here. This is Miss Black. So you got Miss Black North America. You got Miss Black, what is that? Oh, Miss Black Globe, I'm sorry. Ethiopia, Belize. And it said North America, which confused me because, like, why wouldn't you just say Black American or America? Why is it North American? I don't understand. Others spread a lot of anti-African American sentiment. Yeah, we seen how they came on social media, you know, whether it be Jamaican talking about Black American tourism, even though it's very important to them, they talk about it negatively. And it's like, it's It's not a smart thing to do. I mean, if Negroes in America truly started saying, all right, we're going to slow up on a lot of this stuff we're doing outside of the country and really start focusing on moving around in country, it would hurt a lot of people, especially in the Caribbean. People. I don't need this. We can skip that too. Well, I think that's it. We went through over all the stuff I wanted to get to. Thank y'all for coming through. Hold on. Yeah. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. I should be back on track next week, and I'm gonna start. And I always say this, and I'm not getting around to it. I want to start doing something midweek, because Saturdays have been busy, but now my Sunday is gonna be busy, so I'm gonna have an opening possibly in the middle of the week. So I might end up doing. I'm not saying I'm going live or something, but I might do something middle of the week too. We'll see. Not sure yet, but anyway, appreciate the support as always. Thank y'all for coming through, spending a couple of time having a conversation with your boy. It's a good show, end strong, everyone, and start fresh tomorrow on Moon Day. I'm saying I got see what your Diddy takes were. I can tell you right now, I knew he was getting off on the trafficking stuff, sex trafficking. Not surprised, and I think that this wasn't the main reason they got him up out or try to get him up out of here. I think they wanted the evidence, and because he didn't snitch, they let him get this slap on the wrist. Instead of getting a life sentence, he might get 10 years, but we'll see. Anyway, keep it. Thank you. Thank y'all for coming through. Really appreciate it as always. And as always, as I say, and I mean it, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.